Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com and SuperCon 2018 Return of the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my right, we have Mothra himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello everyone.
And across from me, we have Rodan himself. Garrett, how you doing?
Dude, my butt looks so good on that trailer.
And I am King Ghidorah. I am Marvin. And I got, you know, like I'm the biggest, baddest guy. Am I the king of the monsters? Is that what that refers to, King Ghidorah? Or is it Godzilla? Or is it humans?
Well, I'm pretty sure the movie's called Godzilla King of Monsters.
It is, but it doesn't say Godzilla is the king of monsters.
It says Godzilla semicolon.
Is it just
Yeah.
a colon?
Space.
It means they're in the movie.
You're right, it is just colon.
So I think it's cool.
You know, actually, this has something to do with Godzilla. This is what we call a hard transition. But I wanted to bring up because I was thinking on the way here, because I'm hungry right now. I'm eating some soup back here, but now
Died a little bit.
we're starting the show, and so that soup's going to get cold. When you guys talk about the center, I'll eat it. I was thinking on the way here that a nacho. You guys ever had amazing nachos?
Yeah,
Like usually when I have nachos, they're good.
not great.
They're not like I've had like a steak and it's like this is mind blowing. I've had food that's mind blowing. I've never had a mind blowing nacho.
Now, what do you define as nacho? Like chips and cheese or cheese covered on chips?
Not
like,
just chips and cheese. I call that
Okay.
chip and cheese.
Okay.
I'm talking about like
chips and queso.
like some sort, maybe meat, sour cream, like the whole shebang. If you ever had an amazing nacho, doesn't it depend per chip?
Now,
Doesn't it depend
can
on
I
the
cheat
dip?
and bring up Granite City's nachos? Because that beats everything.
I'm talking classic.
See, now my thing is when I do nachos, I end up crunching all my chips up together.
Oh, wait,
and
I
just
have.
mixing everything.
My mom makes chicken nachos. Phenomenal, sorry. It's grilled chicken, cheese, melted on chips in a skillet.
What kind of cheese does she melt?
It changes. Sometimes it's pepper jack. Sometimes it's like the Mexican blend where it has all the
Different flavors.
3 different cheeses.
And what are you saying, Alex? You crush your chips. Anybody I ever see do that, I think they're insane. Are you insane?
Obviously.
What's the point of it?
For me,
I like the pun. Point of the crunchy part
see,
of the
my
chip.
thing is that, one, I don't like getting stabbed in the mouth by my chips. And I also like to use a spoon.
Oh, you just eat it with a spoon? That's
Yeah.
not
What?
a
You
nacho.
eat a chip and then you salsa with a spoon?
You're eating toppings on chip flakes is what you're fucking doing.
Well, if anyone's
That sounds
ever watched,
horrible.
no, I don't know. Marvin's already seen me eat soup. I take just a whole crap load of crackers. There's probably more crackers than soup in my bowl. I like to mix it up and then
Because the soup didn't
I
have
believe
enough salt already.
I believe
not.
one time
And
when
carbs.
when me and Alex used to work together, we were at a break at sometimes eating some soup. And I said, hey, I walked over and I saw it and I go, are you just eating soggy crackers? That's what I think I said.
essentially, yeah.
So, I'm thinking about these nachos coming home, and I'm like, if you've ever had an amazing nacho, it depends per chip.
My mom makes some nachos.
I know, but doesn't it depend? Every once in a while, you try to grab shit, and it all falls down, and you get mostly chip. It's it ruins the fucking experience. It's never consistent.
Dude, I tell you, when you skillet cook those chips, they get nice and hard, and all the toppings, it doesn't matter. That chip is
You have your mom
flat
make
and
me that. I
solid.
want to try this thing. I want to.
I agree. We'll go over
right.
to Garrett's house and we'll try it.
Cool.
But so that I was thinking about
If
these
I let
nachos,
you have me, I'm going to eat it all.
and my mind went to when I read a comic and I see food or any kind of drink. Does it make you hungry or thirsty if you're reading? Has there ever been a drawing in a comic that you're like, it makes you hungry? For example, Doomsday Clock, those pancakes. I was just like, it made me hungry for pancakes. And whenever I see a glass of water or an ocean, where it's clear, or not an ocean, I guess where it's clear. There's a scene in Saga, or maybe even a cover where she's swimming.
Yeah.
And
53. She's
it made me
52.
thirsty. Just the water.
Yep.
And it's weird that you can see something and not be thirsty beforehand and see a drawing of something and be like, I need that.
It usually for me happens in games, actually. When I play Witcher, that water is always so nice and clean. It's like, oh man, I go swimming. I'd drink that water. That sounds good. Or when I find turtles when I play a turtles game and they're eating pizza. It's like, hell yeah, give me some pizza.
Do you go then and get something to eat or something to drink? Like,
No, I starve myself and thirst myself.
What about in Lion King when Timon lifts up that log and those bugs look like gummies?
I would say, to be fair, I was like, you know what? I would eat that gummy worm. That does look pretty good.
Stacy.
See, I do go get something to drink. I know you can't drink and read comics at the same time.
I can drink and eat and do whatever while I play video games. It's hard to eat while I play games.
But not comic books.
But when I play Batman, who needs that other thumb? I just play one-handed and shovel food in.
Ooh, you get grease on your controller?
No, I only use one hand.
You can't use it forever.
I use my toes when I need the other hand. So I got hands for toes, hands for feet.
You're rude. You're creepy.
You're creepy.
Yeah, it's there is a comic book coming out right now. We talked about it in the forecast. I forget what it's called, but it's about a chef and about food. And it really was like they found like
flavor.
Flavor. They found a chef consultant to make sure the food was correct and it looked correct and stuff like that. And so it's a strange thing because, you know, it's a visual medium, but also it's like food is something that you have to smell and taste. So it's weird that like you're looking at it only and you can still like have that sense memory where you're like, you can like feel like you can smell it and taste it. And I think that's what makes you hungry.
Well, you didn't even bring out the best example of your comic experience, pizza from Team NT.
Yeah, when I play video games.
You brought it up.
But what about when you read comics? You don't see that pizza and go,
But you know, the weird thing is that
they're giant.
Recently, they're not as often. Like in the 80s, there's pizza every issue. You're watching them eat pizza and shovel it in. Nowadays, it's kind of a lost art in the Turtles universe.
I guess when your dad stops buying it for you, you can't eat it as much.
Who, Splinter's not their dad anymore?
Well,
Let me
he
ask-
is, but
Let's
You know, did you read the last issue?
I have not yet.
Okay.
The one that just came out?
He's the least likely to be a dick in this one.
out of all the pizza you've seen in the Team AT universe, and Garrett also can answer this, which is the one where you're like, I would try that? I don't mean just like the standard pep. I mean like the weird stuff they eat.
So there's one that I think he makes like a PB&J. I would actually give that one a try. But there's somewhere he makes like a mayonnaise marshmallow crap. I mean, there's ones in the 80s that's just ridiculous. I don't know how these turtles aren't dead.
I like the ones where it could be just pepperoni pizza, but literally the pizza box is the size. It's wider than the turtle's shells. Then I'm like, I can't believe, what's 1/8 of that pizza? That's what I want to know.
I want to do two things. One, I want the pizza that Kino brings in Secret of the Ooze. I know, Garrett, you haven't seen it. And I also want to be Mikey in the first one where he gives the guy less money for being 30 seconds late.
What does he say? 30 seconds late?
So you're just saying you're a prick.
Kind of, but I also want to be in the sewer and giving because then he can't attack me.
They don't have that rule anymore. Domino's is not saying if they're late, they're going to get you for free.
Yeah.
They went away with that because they decided like, you're going to wait for this damn pizza.
Yep.
Like they got technology now where it doesn't get cold.
Well, Pizza Hut makes you wait frickin' hour and 15 minutes for one large pizza, so
Well, nobody's ordering for Pizza Hut anymore because it sucks. So
it's better than Domino's.
Oh, I like Domino's because
I like
they put
Domino's.
that garlic on the
But
crust.
the crust Pizza Hut's better than Domino's.
Okay, see now I want
No.
pizza.
I had Pizza Hut recently, and it does not compare.
Sometimes you gotta put it back in the oven for a little bit.
If you're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the best pizza in town is Bredico downtown.
Right.
Not even kidding.
The best pizza that we used to have 20 years ago was that Italy over on 57th and Marion, but
It was
it's gone.
$20.
It's so good that it closed.
It was $20 basically for the size of the pizza that you were saying, the size of their shell.
Really?
It was so good. No matter what you had on it, it was just $20. You split it with 5 people, $4 each, and
I was full.
You get full. RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Holland Files number 2 is out, Garrett. How is it?
Holland File 2's was awesome. A lot of cool images that you haven't got to see in Holland Files number 1, so definitely looking forward to finishing this bad boy.
And that's not the only thing. If you want to learn more about Swamp Thing, Alex, where would you go?
You're going to go to rootsoftheswampthing.com.
Make sure to stay in touch at rootsofswampthing.com on Twitter, at DC World Swampy, Facebook.com/rootsoftheswampthing. Royal City number 13 from Jeff Lemire and Jeff Lemire. So this is the penultimate issue of Royal City. The issue 12 came out last week, so I didn't read them back to back. The thing that was surprising to me, I read 12 and I really enjoyed 12. Like it was a 10 out of 10 for me. And I was amazed on how simply that story is told. Because there's a lot of components, a lot of emotional components with issue 12. And I kept thinking that it could have been told in a more complex way, but for Jeff Lemire to understand like how to tell that issue 12, it was like perfect. And then we move on to issue 13, which I mean, this you feel like this has a lot to wrap up still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got the 13, and I'm kind of seeing like an idea of how he's going to end this thing. And 13, I thought was done well too. And so we have Tommy. We see the past. We see that he died, and we cut to his mom talking about how her affair started right when Tommy died on the same night. And she's talking to her husband, and her husband says, "Hey, it's not your fault for having this affair. Like, I wasn't there either. I got lost in these radios." And also, he met somebody at the same time. He met this guy. What was his name? Juan. And so they've both been having an affair for a while. Like, they haven't been there for each other. And she, this whole time, has been blaming herself. And he's like, it's not only just you. Like, it was a mutual thing that we fell out of. And they kind of come to an understanding, being like, yeah, we're not right for each other. Like, we're good friends, and they even say that, like, you're my best friend, but that doesn't mean they got to be together. Mm. And the way that I feel like that plot line's done. And the way it ends in this issue, I was like, perfect. I mean, there's no better way to do it. Yeah. And I think you're finding, so the series at the beginning kind of was like, all these people are stuck in this town. Tommy died, and they're kind of stuck with these problems, and they don't know how to move on with Tommy's death or with their issues. And then now we're seeing like his mom and dad found a way to move on.
To resolve their problem.
Right. And his brother, what's the brother?
Richie or Patrick?
Richie. Patrick. No. Patrick found a way to move on because he confessed, hey, I didn't write these books. They were all Tom's, from Tom's notebook, and I stole them. And that's why the second book wasn't as good, because the first book was Tommy's book. I stole all of it. And and he's talking to his wife, who they're having issues too. And he was like, so I don't know what you want to do. I don't know, like, how's this ever going to work? And she goes, you idiot. Like, I'm not with you because you are a good writer or I like your books. I'm with you because I like you. And he goes, so what do we do now? And there's a panel in between there. Did you guys notice this? It's like a black panel, just all black. Like, it's not even like a panel outline and then it's colored in black. It's just, there's nothing there. The panel's gone. And then it cuts to her just looking at him. And I thought it's a great comic mechanic to be like, let's pause for a moment. Like, what are we going to do now? Pause. Because you can't, I mean, in a movie, in a TV show, you can control time by putting in time before somebody else speaks. But in a comic book, you're leaving up to the reader to like decide when to read the next dialogue box. It's all up to the reader. So I thought it was a great way to like put a pause in, because Jeff Lemire wants you to think about it for a second. Like, what do we do now? Like, Patrick's like, what do we do now? And he is coming through so he confessed to that, and him and his wife aren't 100% complete on what they're doing, but we're mostly at the end of that story. And Richie, his story is a really big part of this issue, right? He's having a conflict with the older Tommy that he sees, and the older Tommy's like, just kill yourself. Like, trying to tell him to kill himself. He's like, then you'll come see me and all your questions will be answered. Did I really kill myself, or did I have an accident? Like, I'll tell you if you just come visit me. And I think, and let me know if you guys believe this or not, I think I know how this series is going to end. So they all have this guilt that Tommy died, their mother, everybody has this guilt that Tommy died and they couldn't save him. We weren't paying attention to him having all these issues with the headaches, with being like an outcast, or like all his problems went into the notebook, and they didn't really know who he was, or like they didn't pay attention to his problems. And now Richie's having problems, and he's kind of like reaching out for help, and it's almost like a second chance to be like, we can make this up. We're going to save our other brother, because he's at a point now where he's like the lowest point of his life, and he's thinking about it.
Yeah, he is thinking about taking his own life.
So this is a second chance for them to rally as a family and decide, no, we don't break apart this time and miss the signs and lose somebody again. Like, this is a time for us to be like, no, this is a time when we get back together and we go out there and we help Richie. I think that's how it's going to end. What do you guys think?
I'd pretty much agree with that. I think so too.
I could either be in the happy story where they actually do come together as a family and realize we need to get over these petty differences and become a family, or I could see it being the other thing, that the thing to bring them together is Richie killing himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not saying that I think Richie's going to be saved. I just believe, though, that they'll make the decision to try to save him.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Then yes, then I understand that they're going to come together as a family, and that's how Rural City will
like
end.
You said, they might show up and he might have killed themselves, but at least they made a decision. Hey, we can't let this happen again. We're going to try and do something.
Yeah.
Last time they ignored Tommy so much that remember at that party they didn't even know where he went. Like, and he was like drinking.
But I
and
predict
drugs.
though, because there was that moment where Richie's looking at that shard of glass where he's like, just do it, and then it fades away, and then it ends up with him on the phone. I think that's Richie saying, okay, I'm close to maybe making a horrible decision. Like, I need help. And, the difference between Tommy and Richie, like, yes, Tommy was looking for help, but did he ever ask for help? That's the big difference. I think Richie doesn't want to fall into the same, like you said, that same thing that Tommy did. And so he's trying to find a different way to avoid that issue. So,
well, I think with Tommy, a lot of it was silent signs, right?
Right.
Like, there was not really a cry for help, but if they were paying attention at all and weren't still involved in their own issues, which at the time seemed like a big deal, but they really weren't that big of a deal. Like her mom said, like, I was so concerned about, like, oh, I'm lonely and I want to get together with my high school. This is how she's phrasing it. And I'm not making that tone because I'm saying that. That's what she was saying. Like, I was lonely and went with my high school sweetheart. Oh, poor me. Like, it didn't matter. My son died. And like they were so caught up in these petty issues that they were missing the big picture of somebody was way worse than them, was actually like in a darker place than they could ever be. And I think, and so maybe, I know Richie's actually reaching out for help on this party. He's like reaching out, but like is Tommy's really a big part of that. And maybe that's subconsciously Richie's thinking about that, being like, I can't just let myself be quiet in this moment. And also the family's like, has to be able to recognize, like, no, we need to save him. And I think it's great when you think about it, because so if you think about it, like when Tommy died, basically they're stuck in this city, right? They're stuck and they can't leave. The only person left was Patrick, and he came back to the town. He was drawn back. If you think about it in a philosophical way, let's just say, when Tommy died, they got stuck in that city. They basically got stuck in purgatory. Like, they're stuck there, they can't leave, and they're always constantly in struggles, and they're constantly always in agony of all these issues they've been having. Like, they're never happy here. And it's a chance for them to redeem that, maybe with Richie, and get out and decide to be happy and maybe move on to a better place. And it also, like, maybe also Tommy can finally be at rest, and he won't be stuck here anymore either because of the decisions they made. And like they said, like, they don't know if Tommy actually killed himself or had an accident. Like, and we don't know. Like, it was left up to our imaginations because we just saw him climbing the tower, and then next thing we know, he's in he's face down in water, right? And he's gone.
Sorry, I shouldn't have left. He's in a pile.
And so, like, there was a lot of guilt there and questions, and like they got stuck there, and they don't blame, but a lot of it saying like, oh, we're only this way because we feel this way about Tommy, but it's like, no, Tommy's telling them in these subconscious ways, as the avatar they want to see them as, the older Tommy, the baby Tommy, being like, move on. Like, you need to decide that you can get over these issues and work on them. And that's what he's been doing. And like I said, a lot of these are coming to a conclusion. So I can see, one of you guys said on a text earlier, I wonder if it's going to be exercised or bigger. And maybe it is. But if it isn't, I can see this, quickly wrapping up in one more issue, and being more about what he's trying to say with it rather than wrapping up actual plot lines with
I do think one of the best parts of this issue also is the revelations about Tommy's daughter.
Oh yes,
I mean, the fact that, like, that family, they're always seeing Tommy everywhere, to find out that Tommy's daughter, like, I loved when the mom, like, they're expecting their mom to, like, freak the fuck out that Tommy has a daughter, and then she's like, I can see it in your eyes, like, you're Tommy's kid, and then instantly you just see love for this child.
And a lot of them stopped seeing Tommy once they found her daughter.
Right.
They don't see Tommy anymore. Like, they were like, oh.
Has Richie met her yet?
No.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like, Rich is the only person who still sees Tommy.
Maybe that's that movie. Maybe she's going to have a big thing to pull him out of it.
I just got chills thinking of that.
This
seeing
is
Tommy's
your niece.
daughter. And
this is Tommy's last thing he gave to the world was her.
And she was in his room looking at his stuff. Maybe she'll find something, or at least come to an understanding where she'll tell him, like, it's not your fault, because he's the one who blames himself the most, because he punched him and then he ran away, and that's when he died.
Right.
So if she can tell him,
detectives,
if she's like part of Tommy and she says, hey, it's not your fault, I don't blame you, like, I'm his daughter. And, Richie knows both people involved. He used to date her mom. Like, and for her to be like, it's not your fault, we can let's move on from this. Might be enough for him to stop.
Yeah. You know what? The thing is that we've been talking about this whole thing for about 10 minutes of, we're on the penultimate issue. Didn't even occur to me. Literally, we've got one more issue left of this book.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to see what happens. Because now us talking about this stuff, like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. All this theorizing. Who knows? Maybe they're not even legit.
I feel like it might be one of his strongest series, especially I like the way he's on there at 14. Like it's going to stay strong.
Yeah.
It has a meaning, has a point. It's not going to get muddled and being like, oh, because for a while, when his daughter came back, I was like, I kind of want to see how she interacts with them and how the family decides to move on with the daughter and let her become part of the family. But then with this issue especially, I was like, that's not the point of this though.
Yeah.
It may be not cool, but
Good
it might be interesting.
study.
Yeah, to see that. But is that the point of this? Is that what he's trying to say? And I think what he's trying to say with this is what we were talking about before is sometimes when something tragic happens in your life, you need to look at it a bigger picture and also, try to move on and not be stuck in the past a lot. I mean, a lot of them are. They see the old Tommy. But also, there's also a little, we'll call it BC storyline about if he did commit suicide, and Richie is almost going to commit suicide here, to be aware of these signs from people and be more reach out to people and be like, how are you doing? Because for a lot of this story, if you think about it, Richie's been by himself. And it's been spiraling down, and only in the last couple issues, his sister decided to help him.
But even beforehand, the family keeps disregarding him, shoving him aside, going, "Well, you're just drunk."
Yeah.
So what's the point? You don't need any help. We're not going to give you money. We're not going to give you support because all you're going to do is drink it away.
There was nothing more tragic than seeing him go to that race track and lose all that money. Mm-hmm. When he was doing that, I was like, "What are you doing, dude? You're losing all this money. Your sister trusted you. She reached out that hand, and here you are again, deciding you know better.
Making the same mistakes over and over again.
And then when he realizes that, and he's that long fight with Tommy about just end it. This is the best way to do it. He was you're a loser. Nothing's ever going to come good out of your life. And Richie, for a second, like you said, he calls his sister again and decides to confess and be like, I lost all the money. I need your help. And decides maybe for a second he is worth it. Like you said, they've been casting him aside all this time. He's giving them one more chance. And that might be it. He's let me decide. This is going to be the decision. Are they going to be yes, we want to help you? Or are they going to push him aside one more time? And if they do that, maybe he'll decide to pick up that bottle again and do something. And I think that's what we'll see in this last issue. And if it is, I feel the year Jeff Lemire, as we've been talking about it, might be one of his strongest things. It's up there with that Dr. Light miniseries. I was thinking about when I was reading this issue. I was like, this is really good. I think every issue I've liked. And even art-wise, right? Garrett, you said that you turned around on his style because of this series. You really like it. Cause was it Trillium that you didn't enjoy?
Yeah, Trillium was the one that, that was maybe when he was first.
See, now I'm getting excited to read Trillium. Right now I'm reading Sweet Tooth, and I love Sweet Tooth. I'm excited to read into Trillium. And then I've seen this art for 14 or 13 issues. This is such strong Jeff Lemire art that it's hard. It's fun to see this growth and this strength that he's gained.
This is a 10 for me.
10. I mean, I can't even separate issue 12 and 13 because they're both so great.
And at the end of this thing, also, I know there's been 3 arcs, but overall, they're all connected. It's all one big story. And I can't separate the whole thing. And if anybody ever asked me, being like, hey, I want to get into, there was Garrett had said, when we were talking one time about books that new readers can read, you had recommended Royal City. And,
did I? I think I said I was hesitant towards that because of
or Alex did. One of you guys did. I don't know who.
I don't think it was me.
You both.
It does sound like me.
It might have been Alex, and I built. Well, so one of you guys recommended it. The other person said they were hesitant about it seems kind of really deep for somebody to read it for the first time. But I really do think it's pretty simple to read. But also in terms of a drama and what you get out of this book, I do feel like it's strong enough, and it's a Jeff Lemire book that is. Like I said, it's top tier of Jeff Lemire. Is that a rhyme?
It is.
Top tier of Jeff Lemire that
you heard it here.
I would like to give this to somebody to be because it's so good to be like, you should read this. Because I think
so
it shows.
too. I just think new reader though. Like this is the first thing. Hey, you into comics? Read this.
But see,
I think I would.
Like
I don't know.
Like I kind of compare it a little bit to Day Tripper, where Day Tripper I really think it's a lot of stuff to take in. You got to be emotionally ready to read it. This, it's got some hard hitting things, but if everyone comes from some sort of family, whether you really do have 3 siblings or a mom and a dad who are having marital issues, there's something to bring you into it. And everybody in their world has had that person that you had maybe committed suicide, and you're like, you know what, I wish I would have paid more attention. I wish that I would have been there for them.
There's a lot more relatable things than
it's not. I mean, it's a family thing, whether you have a family or not. There's people that you love.
I feel also like the style of the book, the way that the narrative is being told is, if anybody reads like prose novels, like they really read a lot of books, that they could pick this up easily and like understand it. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also feel like at this point, because I think at the time I agreed with you, but I feel like at this point, now that we know there's one more issue left, that I would start recommending this to people. And I feel like if you're listening to us right now, by the way, it got spoiled, but if you're listening to us right now and you're like, hey, what's this Royal City? Go back. Oh, actually, wait till the trade comes out. It's going to be 14 issues. I'm sure there's going to be one collection. And pick it up. It is something that I believe is strong from the first issue, and I doubt we're going to get 13 strong issues and then one that's not going to end this thing great. And we've learned
Jeff can end the book.
Great. Speaking of which, no,
not quite. We got Venom #4, written by Donny Cates, art by Ryan Stegman, and in this issue, we previously had seen Venom or Eddie Brock ran into. What is the bad guy's name? I'm going to call him like the Venom King or Venom God, essentially.
Yeah.
We find out why he's doing what he's doing. And I actually, you know what? You talk about it every time, Garrett, that Donny Cates knows how to write a mythos and a lore for a character. To hear this God tell you how the Venom symbiote was made in so he kills a Celestial.
Yep.
And he ends up turning it into a forge and makes this symbiote sword. And this is why they're afraid of fire, because they're not pure enough to be in fire. And that loud clink or loud sound like the clanking of my hammer on them.
Which I like too, because like you've seen in any iteration of Venom, you know that high-pitched frequency sounds is what like freaks it the hell out.
Yep.
You know, and you always just think, oh, that's just really annoying. No, because you're right. That's cool that Donny Cates put an image to it. It's like, that hammer's getting beat so hard and that forge was burning so hot that the symbiote doesn't like having a fixed form. It likes to be fluid. It likes to move and grow and be a parasite.
And it's had, it's reminded of worse things. It's like, oh, you know what? I really enjoyed that part. That was probably my favorite part of this whole story. Then to find out that I forgot Spider-Man was there.
Yeah.
So you get this whole long story of this God telling you these things and going, I made these. Did he make these evil? They're not called the Clintars. That's what their cage is called, or that's
right.
That's their word for cage. What?
Are you talking about like the little creatures that are with the red swirls?
Is that?
Well, they are called the Clintar, but the Clintar, what they're destined to be, is a cage for that god. Because that body that we're seeing the entire issue is not the actual god's body.
Yeah,
that's a vestige, being like, "Hey, you can do this shit to me, but like I have a plan in motion to set myself free, and when I do, all these visions are going to be connected to me. I'm going to control everything, and that." Void that I used to live in that got taken from me, I'm going to control, and I'm going to take everything back, kill you all, my universe.
And that's right, because Thor shocked all the other Venom things out of it, or not out of him, but he broke contact with them, and now they're doing their own form into a planet thing, right?
Right, which is Clintar is short for cage, and that's where that body of the god is. So he's using the dragons to basically do his bidding and create, like for these symbiotes, put them back to their original code, I would call it. Okay. And he's trying to get back control to eventually break the cage so he gets out.
Okay. I tell you what, this issue had a lot of
complex mythology.
Yeah. I think that was the thing is I was reading it slowly trying to figure out what the hell was going on because there's a lot of stuff
Did I read a little allude to Gore the God Butcher in there somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah, the sword in here is the same weapon that he uses.
What's the sword called again?
The necro
Ink.
sword.
Oh, the
Necros.
necro sword.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's, and then also in the Old Man Thor story where Galactus had it, or he gets it at the end. So it's like it's the same thing. It's a symbiote. So that, I thought that was cool about this. It's like not only is like Alex was saying, there's some lore built about the Venom story, about like all his origins stuff like that, but also like this sword that we've seen in other things. I find it so fascinating that Donny Cates was like, so Jason Aaron never explained where that came from, like what that was or anything like that. And to Donny Cates to be like, well, I'm going to tie this in. It's the perfect place to tie in with this Venom storyline. But also like there's, it talked about Nowhere, like some sort of origin from Nowhere and how that became to be. And like, there's all these things that like, he's not only creating lore for Venom, he's creating these small little pieces of lore for the Marvel Universe as a whole. And I thought the only thing I had an issue with this whole, there was a lot of exposition. Like he was talking to him the whole time about, oh, look, this, and he was telling him the story. And then you're right. Then all of a sudden here comes Miles out of nowhere and punches the guy. So I was like, oh, hey, yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, kind of punched out of the story almost.
But I mean, you know, usually when that happens, I feel bored, but I never felt bored, but I also did feel like it was a lot at once.
That was the thing, is I felt like after I got about 3/4 away and we're still talking, it's like, okay, I'm still trying to figure out what you said the first fourth of the book.
Yeah.
Now
It's
I'm
just
still
a lot.
Yeah.
It is, but I think they're setting up like, I mean, he's a god. And you say that in Marvel, oh, there's a god involved. Oh, there's gods all over the fucking place. But in this case, like, they're trying to say, no, this is one of the gods. Like, he's been here since the beginning of the void of space and time. And this is his story, so that when you get to those parts where, you know, Miles even thinks he has a chance against this guy, where you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like, there's no way you're going to stand a chance. Whereas if it was like Loki's story, and at that point you're like, well, he's going to get slapped around like a little bitch. So I think, yes, it's very complex mythology, but I'm liking that we got those first 3 issues to kind of set up like a threat that didn't seem super heavy. And then like going into this, it's like, this is a fucking villain. Like, you need to watch out.
I questioned, how does Venom get out of this? I mean, if even his symbiote is afraid of this god, how does Eddie Brock get enough control or enough motivation into his Venom suit? And I suppose we're going to find out when we get to his planet. Maybe his symbiote will suck in other symbiotes and get stronger and get bigger. But how do you fight this guy? Because the only person who stood a chance was Thor's hammer. And he doesn't have that hammer. I guess he doesn't need the hammer to do lightning.
Right.
But I just...
Well, yeah, and I think also because the god person reset his symbiotes, or Eddie Brock's symbiotes coding.
Yeah.
I keep saying coding because that's the only I can really process. Whatever. He went back to his basic, God, I can't help myself, programming. And so I think that Eddie's going to try and reclaim the suit, but then the suit's going to be like, starting over.
Restarting his programming?
Restarting his programming. What else should I say? I don't get it. I don't know what other metaphor to use, but
he's got like almost a clean slate.
Right, but I think he's going to be more murdering and rampages.
Slate protocol.
Nice.
Right.
Total Recall.
Dark Knight Rises. But I think that's going to be the thing, is like they're going to, you know, especially for that movie coming out, I doubt they're planning that, but I mean, you're going to see that relationship reform.
I feel like Marvel does not give a shit about that.
I know.
Out.
I said that's why I was
You say that, but it makes me sad because that's how Thanos was. We were building up to. We were getting to the movie Infinity War coming out, and hey, you're right. We're getting 2 months from now. We're getting into Venom.
But all I'm saying is like it'll be kind of cool to see that very one mission symbiote. God damn it,
symbiote.
I know I can't do it anymore. That fucking trailer. Venom. They're going to see Venom have to like restart, and all he wants to do, all he is about like destruction and rampage. Yeah. So that would be kind of cool to see. And see Eddie try to control him.
I just call it symbiote. So.
Stupid.
I thought, yeah, the art still amazing. Right segment still in the book.
So good.
The beginning of the book said at first there was nothing, and then there was light. That's Jonathan Hickman's thing, so I'm not sure Donny Cates what's going on there, but
he's just using it again.
Because remember in S.H.I.E.L.D., that's how S.H.I.E.L.D. starts, and that's also how his Avengers starts, and now Venom. So, I mean, it might be the same point in time. So Marvel, maybe there was nothing, and then there was something. So, I mean, I understand that's Big Bang, but in Marvel, that's the same words that he used in those stories. So, I really enjoyed it. It was an 8 for me. There's a lot of exposition that, like Alex said, at a certain point, I don't care how interesting any exposition is, at a point you get tired. If somebody's explained something to you, you need a break.
I think a part of it is that that it's red boxes with white lettering, hard to read. And after a while, I was starting to get a headache going, okay, this stuff could be interesting.
Marvel, DC, quit with the fucking red backgrounds.
Yep.
Like there was that Batman issue where it was red background and black text. I could not read that at all.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but I can't read red as a background.
I didn't have an issue. I give this issue a 9. Like I think it was literally like reading like Norse mythology for me. Like I was enamored. I was sucked in, and by the end, I was just like, "Holy crap!" Like that was a good story.
The artwork really sucked me in because that was really strong. When you're watching him hammer these things and sticking the sword into the fire, it's that's really good. But I do agree with Marvin that there's a lot of exposition that kind of drew me out. I would agree and give it an 8.
Ocho. That's what I'm saying. It's not even wasn't that it was bad. It's just that anybody could be telling me anything, and at a certain point, it gets boring.
You know, the hard thing for me is when I go from Donny Cates to Thanos, where every issue consistently got better. It's still been pretty solid 8 to 9 range all the time. I'm expecting issue 5 to really
I feel
blow
like
me out
though,
of the water.
like you got Ryan's segment on this book, and I'm trying to remember, but I think at least the last couple of issues, I feel like Donny Cates is overriding a little bit. It's like let Ryan Stegman do some things for a second. You know what I mean? Like you don't need because if you look at it, every single panel is full of text. Like let Ryan Stegman show me some of these things. Like,
which is weird because I feel like Donny Cates knows
he does with Thanos. He did that.
Yeah, so to let the artists do their.
That's what I mean.
But I think in that case, he's trying to establish this character.
Yeah, I mean
that's why
he's also rewriting a lot of this lore. So, right. I mean, but that's what I mean. Like it feels like it though. It feels like, hey, let me rewrite this for like I'm redoing this thing, so I got to explain it all again. And it just feels like I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but also I don't like the way I don't like just being like, hey, I could be reading an encyclopedia then.
And thirdly, they're in space, and it's a lot of black. So maybe he's like, I need a little color in this page. Here, let me put a
red text,
red
box,
red box with some white in there.
Well, speaking of exposition, Justice League Dark #1, written by James Tynion IV, with art by Alvaro Martinez and Raul Fernandez.
I just saw Civil War just happen right here. Garrett said exposition. Marvin goes,
this book, I am not a fan of the Justice League books coming out right now. Like this, I was so excited for. It took me forever to get through. It was just not good for me.
I don't even know what you're talking about. It was a breeze.
Oh no!
I
so much text on each page.
I know, but I
was like, oh my god, what a chore!
Like it was all written in a way that I felt like it flowed a lot, and like I went through it.
Oh, I just felt like we kept getting reminded about metal. You remember that time I showed up with those other detective chimps?
I will agree with that.
And I'm drinking my beer. It's only orange juice. What the crap?
There's a lot of meta jokes. And then the transitions from each members of the team, I was just like, this is so choppy. And the whole beginning was Zatanna. Whoa. Yeah. That was bad.
I thought the second half was really strong when actually the introduction of Kurt Langstrom was my saving grace. Like, oh, yeah, I forgot.
Cool.
I forget you're in this book. And he's actually got this he's a short little guy with a bat head. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then when you finally run into Swamp Thing with his one random eye listening to people being kind of creepy, I was like, okay, now this is where the book picked up for me, and I'm excited. But all that doubting that Wonder Woman was having, she's just...
Oh my God. That's one thing I hate. I hate when a character monologues. And like, I just picture them standing in a room and be like, you know, I have a connection to magic, and people just don't understand that. Like, I'm just sitting here complaining. I'm just like, shut up.
Like, kind of, because every time I
show me, don't.
Wonder Woman's just standing in the corner going, no one likes what I'm doing. It's like, okay, get over it. You're an Amazon.
I'm a magic
Go
Amazon.
kick the shit out of somebody.
There's a battle against magic, and she doesn't understand why nobody wants to fight back.
No, that's not what she was saying. She was like, I don't understand why people don't think that I don't understand magic. Blah blah blah.
I enjoyed.
She's playing with cards.
I enjoyed the first part. I didn't feel like there was a weak part. Like Alex said, I felt the whole thing was consistently good. And the Wonder Woman, her doing all that stuff, actually, I thought it was good character work because she's so
her
used.
just standing in a room
She's so
talking for
used.
5 hours.
She's so used to being a leader and being like people to like wanna be behind her and be like, yes, let's go. You're the leader. She doesn't understand when she comes to this world. She doesn't understand this magic world. Like everything's like Chip was telling her, Dr. Chimp, everything here's not black and white like you're used to. Everything here's gray. Like we don't know like really where the lines are. We don't have any lines in the magic world. So she's trying to get used to this world, and she doesn't understand really how it works.
Question:
That's why she needs that team.
Does Detective Chimp actually use magic? Yeah. Is he a magical being, or is he a supernatural?
He says in the book he doesn't really use magic, but he's a chimp. So I mean, he's a detective. He's gonna help her.
He's a chimp. I got that.
I think the biggest mic drop in this issue was Constantine. He shows up like a badass.
Oh, see, he was another weak point for me. I don't care about Constantine.
I actually did like his cameo. Yeah,
That was cool.
Wasn't he supposed to be in this book?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
now,
he's not on the
think he's gonna be-
official lineup.
I think he's gonna be more of a consultant.
He's you know what I did like about Kirk? So that he was like we're trying to like he said, oh yeah, he's trying to redeem his past sins, right? And he's working with the who was it, CIA? No. GCPD?
I thought it was I don't know.
I thought it was like CIA or something like that. Somebody federal. Government. He just a government
Shield,
baby.
not Shield. Stars. Argus.
Star?
Somebody. He's working with somebody to redeem. But I like how he's like, when she's like, we need more power right here. He's like, all right, I got one of these old formulas. And he turns into the man bat that you know. But otherwise, he's like this funny character. Like, I thought he was pretty funny in the book, him and Detective Chimp. I don't know. I did like the way it felt.
Zatanna felt weird for me, though. She felt I mean, I get the magic's off, but she seemed so far from who Zatanna is as a character. Like I have not read this Zatanna ever before. Where she's just like very
down.
Yeah, well, down, but very inexperienced. Again, I know magic's not working the best because of that tree, but still, I was like, this is not Zatanna. I know is confident, and even if she does, her magic's not working, she finds a solution. She doesn't like go crying into swamp.
She's frustrated because it's not working correctly.
I know, but she doesn't.
Everybody's mad.
But Zatanna doesn't always need magic to solve all her problems. Yes, that's her power, but she always finds creative solutions to figure out her issues. So
I don't know. I felt like this was the Zatanna that I know. And I really did feel like I got flashbacks of seeing her in Justice League cartoons, and I was just like, yeah, that's who she is. There was this group there's this group of magic people right there where they were like, yeah, the Justice League are trying to put something together, but like we don't need them. We're going to do this our way because they don't understand what needs to be done to take care of this issue. So I do like the idea of Justice League Dark, like her putting a group together because she thinks what needs to be done, but also the magic world's like, we're going to take care of this on our own. And we have that group of people who are going to do it.
Oh, with Dead Man and all them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do feel like I think there's a lot of interesting things here, and I want to keep reading it. So I thought it was an 8. Strong 8.
I give it a 7.
Strong 8.
There's parts I enjoyed, but I'm still on that boat of there's some boring things. Shut up. They're just it didn't do what I was expecting it to do. I really thought this was going to suck me in and be like, okay, this is the supernatural book that I've been expecting. Kind of lackluster on what I received.
Can I say before you say
No,
something?
shut up. I already told you.
I thought the art was fantastic, by the way.
art was good.
Art was great.
really good.
I don't-
when you could see it besides the speech bubbles.
I don't think I've seen those arts before, but I kept thinking because I kept going back to the beginning, like, who's this? Who's this again? Because I was like, man, this is pretty good.
Two
I like it.
artists.
No, it's one guy.
Yeah, 2.
You have a bad copy. It's one guy.
I just read. No, it's not. It's 2
Where
artists.
did you read it at? Did you read it out of the actual issue?
I read on the solicit.
No, it's not. It's only one guy.
Now,
Yeah, it's like Raul. Let me look it up.
Raul Fernandez and the other guy, Alvaro Martinez. I just read that.
That wasn't the colorist?
It could be. I don't know. Usually it says art/cover artist, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I give it a 6.
Oh.
I thought the exposition was holy shit boring, and by the end, I was just like scratching my head, like, God, I was excited for this, and it was a huge letdown. I think the last 2 or 3 pages with Swamp Thing and Zatanna were really good. Detective Chimp, yes, he is kind of that jackass, but he was very on the nose. Zatanna, throughout the whole issue, I thought was like so inexperienced, and didn't even
Who
try.
did you say was the artist?
Alvaro, it says right here. Just 1 second. Let me pull it up.
The only artist in this book is Alvaro Martinez Bueno. Raul Fernandez is the inker.
Well, then blame Previews World, because that's what it says. It bills them both as artists. But I give it a... Hey, I wasn't done. You guys got to give your ratings. I give it a... Yeah, I didn't get to finish my thought. You guys get to finish your thoughts.
Because sometimes you're wrong, and we need to tell you what's going up here.
Yeah, Mr. 8 over there, who sees Constantine, is like 10.
You're right, though. I did see Swamp Thing, Constantine, Detective Chimp, and all these people. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's just pretty good. Good art, and Wonder Woman I like too. And I feel like, and I think maybe it's the James Tinney thing. I like the way he has people talk. Like in Detective, a lot of times their dialogue, nothing ever feels fake. It always feels like it is them talking. So even though Wonder Woman, you were complaining like she's whining and complaining and stuff like that, it did feel like still it was her talking.
She was just talking a long time. I am going to keep reading this because I do love I think this team is awesome and the art's really good, and I think the story. I mean, I think they were literally doing Justice League Dark for Dummies, like explaining who the hell these characters are, which is fine.
So
you
didn't like it though,
just to get new readers in. But for those of us that know who these characters are, I don't need to go on the scenic route.
Descender number 32. This is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. A book I've been reading from the beginning, and every time it comes out, top of the stack, read right away. But reading this thing with 32 issues in, that is the run. We're at the end of this thing now. When I first started reading this, you guys know, I've told you this a million times. When I first started reading this, I go, never end. And we're here today, though. It's ending. So I know I've talked about it enough on the show, so I'm going to let you guys talk about it. How's Descender number 32?
I think
Sorry, I was swallowing on that bullshit I just heard. Descender number 32 was hands down my pick of the week. It was very strong storytelling. One of the best conclusions of a volume of a series, which you don't have to know.
I mean, no spoilers, because, obviously I know what happens in the book, but nobody else does. I'm just kidding. You can talk about it.
Oh, God.
I hate you.
I think one person, like, obviously it's the year of Jeff Lemire and the top tier Jeff Lemire, whatever, all the rhymes we could do. But I want to hand it out to Dustin Nguyen. That guy consistently has done amazing art for Descender, and it's painted art, and that's very hard to do in this trade. A lot of people, if they weren't as crisp as Dustin Nguyen doing the art, they wouldn't make it as long as it has. What?
Kicked me in the knee.
Oh, stop flirting, guys. But Jeff Lemire's story is amazing. We've been reading it for the last 3 to 4 years.
Yes, we have.
It started... Shut your face. You just turn your mic off. We started with Tim 21, like waking up, basically.
Yeah.
And now we're at the very end. The harvesters have come back. The big, giant, planet-eating, absorbing harvesters.
The Descenders came with a harvester.
What? No, they're called the harvesters.
No, the big giant machine is. But the little purple dudes, they're called the Descender.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're inside the harvesters.
Yeah, but they're a separate entity.
You're right.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, they showed up with a harvester.
They're inside the harvester.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're still not the harvester.
You're right.
Okay.
Okay. Jeez, can let me breathe between sentences, man.
When you're wrong in your breath.
The harvesters have come back. Up until that point, the harvesters were these giant-ass robots that wiped away half a civilization, right?
Correct.
Okay. So until we meet the Descenders for the last, the last 2 issues.
I think it was 10 years that they were gone, right?
Right.
So they attacked. Now things have been growing and trying to get back to normal.
Right.
Okay.
Now all the population, there's a galactic war going on. We got the Nishans. We have the Hermans.
The UCG.
The
UGC.
UGC, United Galactic Council. So everyone's fighting. Harvesters are back. Now everyone's like, oh shit. The guys that wiped away half the civilization are here. And then the Descenders inside the harvesters are like, humans don't deserve to have machine kind, so we're taking them all back. And Tim's like pleading to the Descenders, like, no, you can't kill these people. Like, they're really great. They're growing. They just need more time. Tim 21 lets the Descenders see his memories, and that's all fine and fancy until the king of the Nishans starts firing missiles at the Harvesters, or giant nuclear bomb rockets.
Oh, I thought he was attacked the freedom fighters. The what were they called? The big machine group that had shown up, because there's the robot army.
Yeah.
There's the Nishans, then there's the UGC,
right,
and then there's the Descenders. So the Nishans attacked that other robot group, those freedom fighters,
right,
and that pissed off the Descenders, going,
You're right.
"Oh, hell no!"
Right? They're like, you can't destroy humankind like that, or robot kind like that, and so they finally they throw Tim 21's link out, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna take all the machines with us," and there's no deciding, because the Descenders had doubt for a second. They're like, well, maybe we don't have to do this, and then that happens, and they're like, nope,
screw you guys.
Yep, change their mind. So what happens is machines start disappearing. Okay, and when this happens, Andy, which is Tim's brother, right, Marvin? Okay, just nodded. Yes. So Andy and Tim have been reunited for 3-4 issues, and it's very bittersweet because they've changed what? 4 issues. Oh gosh, maybe I said 3 to 4. They've been reunited for such a short period of time, but they grew up together, and now Tim has to leave again, and he doesn't want to. You can just see in Tim 21's emotions, he's like, I don't want to leave. I really love my brother. He's sitting there with Bandit, and he's like, everything's going to be okay. I hope everything's going to be okay. This is everything that's happened to Tim 21 in this entire series has been awful. He lost his adoptive mother. He lost his brother. Come to find that his brother's a scrapper, someone that kills robots. And he's got this entire war because of him. He's like Helen of Troy in this war. So many things are going wrong just because Tim 21 is the secret for these Harvesters and the Descenders, and then when it comes to finally getting that code from him...
And so he was made from the Harvester Codex, wasn't he?
Right.
Okay.
But his codex had been changing because of his experience with humans, and that upset the Descenders, and because of that, they pulled back. They said, you've been corrupted. Everything we hoped for you to be, you proved us wrong, and because of that, it's time for Machinekind to go into non-existence. Now, also while this is going on, Driller, one of the most badass
Driller's
robots. Oh my god, he's so cool. I love how he says Hermans. You Hermans. Him and Mizzard, which is a magic wizard, by the way.
Oh, I know.
Okay, just making sure, just clarifying. They kind of buddy cop a little bit, but Driller's final act before he gets taken away, because the Harvesters and Descenders are absorbing all this Machinekind away from the universe.
Tim asks the Descenders, you can kill everybody you want to kill, but don't kill my brother.
Right.
And so he goes, I will go with you, but you save them. And so as they end up Descenders are taking Tim 21, they take the spaceship even that Andy is in. Yeah. And so his girlfriend or wife or
Effie,
I don't know what I think she used to be his wife, or at least his girlfriend, fiance.
Yeah.
They are in space now, and her force field is holding them together with oxygen.
But it's fading.
This is only going to last for about a minute. With both of us in here, it won't last very long. And like you said, Driller looks up and he sees that, well, there's people out in space and people he knows in space. He's got, that sweet robot ocular eye looking out there going, I need to get that guy.
Well, he does say, Driller's a killer. I see Hermans. And then he jumps out of there, saves them. And he's like, now we're even. And then he gets taken away. And that was kind of cool arc because literally Driller has been a cause of many characters in this series. Death, human characters. That especially Andy and Tim's mom.
Yep, because he was in the cave that she was working.
Yep. So now we come to find out that all these Machinekind has been wiped away, and with that, half the population again has been wiped out, and this is already, a half of a half for what got wiped out 10 years ago.
There's a place that had, 12 billion people on their planet, and it went down to like 400,000.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
A lot of people
75% of the population of all these planets have been destroyed.
I think that's Jeff Lemire saying also, how many people depend on technology? All technology's gone now. It's all gone. And so there is the last 3 to 4 pages is a flash forward 10 years. And Andy is a father now. He has a daughter. That's all we get to know. And he's explaining what happened to machine kind. And he looks up to the stars and, he's like, I think Tim 21's still out there. You can just kind of tell on his head. And that's where they promote Ascender, which is going to be volume 2 of this series and the entire Descender saga, where now it'll be sci-fi, fantasy, and magic, kind of like Jedi, a little bit like Star Wars.
When I read those 10, not 10 issues, those like 3 pages, I was so amped for this.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, that sounds great.
Well, now this whole series is going to be about Andy's daughter. I think it's Mila or Mia.
Mila.
I
think you're right the first time.
Yeah. Trying to find Tim 21 to find the secrets of why machine kind is no longer out there. And, I did get a very cool, like, Star Wars vibe to that, like, trying to find Luke Skywalker kind of thing. Like, and I love the fact, I think Mizzard is definitely going to be coming back. They established magic in the last couple of
I would assume he will end up being the Yoda or the Obi-Wan to teach her, going, this is how you use the magic correctly.
Right. And she's going to be able to wield magic, and she's going to help at least get to Tim 21, and something's going to happen because of that. So if I was to give Descender a rating, I'd give it a 9. There was a little bit in the middle where literally we were moving 1 second at a time in the story and doing character study.
These probably last 6 issues have been so strong.
Right.
Building up to this final issue, and even if this was the end, you know what? It felt that it's a good end.
Right.
Knowing that there's another.
Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it ends with hope, and you're like, okay, there's more to come. And you read I actually did read the letters page.
Look at you, man.
I know. Growing up inside.
Well, when Jeff Lemire writes a letter, you better read it.
Well, that's I thought, he's going, I wrote this book and I had a different ending in mind. Then we got about halfway through it, or a year ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to end this. There's something else we can do with this. And so then it ended up being he's going to do the end of this arc was going to be called Ascender, and just kind of float into what the book will become. I think we're taking a break for 6 months for
when to recharge,
because he really has been nailing this book every issue.
He's not doing any other book that I've seen out there on the market right now, and I think that's a good advantage to this book because his art is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And he gets to focus on it's kind of like Fiona Staples on Saga. She gets to focus on one book and nail it every issue.
Right. I give this issue 32 a 10. And I so much look forward to Ascender. I can't wait for 6 months to go by so I can read that first.
Agreed. Issue 10 or issue 32 a 10.
I agree also. Tim 21's one of the best characters ever in my life. And 10 out of 10, best series ever.
How old is he?
21.
He's a robot. He doesn't have an age, dumbass.
All right. We've got The Sentry, number 2, written by, it's like a night of Jeff Lemire. Art is by Aaron Kim Jacinto. Oof. Is that right? Jacinto? Sure.
Yeah.
Jacinto?
Jacinto? Marvin, I really, really enjoyed this issue.
I did. I thought it was way better than the last issue.
Yes.
I think that the first issue was a lot like slower, and the first issue was kind of getting you interested, or at least like setting up Bob a lot and his past stuff. And so, but I think this one, in terms of like where this story's going, I feel like it was so really strong seeing Tony Stark showed up in like the show, because I thought originally when Tony showed up, right, I'm like, Tony shows up in every book. I don't need this guy in this book also, but he felt like he was a small section of the book, and he had a purpose, and that was it. And then to see, we have that B storyline of the other dimension, right?
Yeah, the Sentry World, or whatever it's called.
And you're watching this thing being like, this thing got stolen from him, so who's doing this? Like, I thought maybe it was just a past thing we haven't seen before, and we see Bob trying to figure out like what to do. And he's
counting down the time before he has to become Sentry, and the Void will come get him.
Then Tony's like, dude, you're half hour past already. And so he turns to Sentry, and he gets out of there. And he's like, this is it, I guess. Like, I'm going to turn to the void or whatever, but I'm going to figure this out. And then we see, go back to the diner when we see his buddy. What's his buddy's name?
Billy.
Billy walked back to the apartment, and he's the one who stole it.
So Bobby goes to the diner and goes, Billy, I need your help. And goes,
Yeah.
What? Strange and Tony Stark can help you. Well, I called them.
Bitter. He's
of course
like, yeah.
you called them. I'm the second fiddle. You go to the big guns, but now that you know they won't help you, you're going to come back to me. I've been your longest friend.
Bob was like, yeah, you're right. I apologize, like, but I really need your help. Like, I got an hour and a half left. And that's when S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up and like takes him away and puts him deep.
And Misty punches him right in the face.
Goes deep into the earth, and he still gets out. But I find it interesting. So we're having a story here, right? That is about Sentry losing who he was, but still being able to play out it in this dimension. And then you have Billy, who doesn't have that benefit anymore. Like, he lost everything, but he doesn't get the benefit of being who he was anymore. He has to be this line cook.
Because Billy really was Scout, right?
Yeah.
Scout, Centrist, they were actually characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, hey, remember when I used to be your right-hand man? And like, he's basically trying to tell Sentry, how's it fair that you're going to this other dimension and living out and having the kind of this therapy? And I can't do this therapy also. Like, I get nothing. Like, I have to work in this kitchen, which when he shows up, remember, they're like, there's so many people in there, they're slammed, and like, this is his life now. And so when we see that at the end, that turn where he stole it and he's like, I'm going to be the new Sentry, like, it makes sense that he feels abandoned by his most trusted friend, and he feels like his most trusted friend has betrayed him because he feels like, oh no, I need help, but screw you, like, I get to do this thing and not you. Because he even asked him, like, "What? Can I go there? Like, what's going on here? Like, I want to be able to do this."
When I read this issue today, and I was a little apprehensive because I know that Garrett wasn't a fan of issue 1. I thought, well, maybe I was getting sucked into it by Jeff Lemire. And so I read this issue, and this almost felt like a Black Hammer issue for me.
Yeah.
Because it really, there had a lot of heart in it when we're in the Sentry planet or Sentry world. And I think his name was King Cranium or Cranius or something.
Yeah.
One of Sentry's big baddies, apparently. And Centrist, Jenny, is going to intercept him because he's already taken out Scout. He's already taken out the dog. And she goes, I can't let you do this. I'm going to keep fighting. And he just beats the piss out of her. And he's throwing her around, picks her up, and then he laser beams her face off.
Oh, yeah.
And throws her down on the ground. I was like, holy crap. This blows my mind for a Marvel book. That seems super dark. And yeah, you don't see her face melted off, but where they have her placed, there's a rock in front of her head, and where her head should be is smoking above the rock. It's like, that's dark.
And also we see that, so he has this bad guy being the guy that's stuck in this virtual world. Like, and Jenny says at one point, she's arguing with him in the other dimension, and he's like, none of this is real. Like, what do you think, this is real? And it's weird because, like, he is the guy that's being kind of like plugged in, right, to this dimension, but against his will from Billy. Like, Billy's like, yeah, like, you're going to be doing this. So there's a lot of interesting concepts here. Like, I feel like the first issue was a very slow start, but I feel like the second issue here is enough for me to be like, oh, I see where this is going. Actually, I'm really interested in where this is going. So I really did enjoy it. The art was great. I feel like it's stronger than the first issue.
And it looked like, I saw this was 2 of 5, so I don't know if the series is 5 issues, or at least this arc is a 5-issue arc. Super amped to keep reading 2, 3, and 4.
I think if I'm right correctly, it's just a miniseries.
Okay.
No. I like, this is the one that was like, yeah, I'm going to get the rest. So it was great.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, me too. 9. Strong 9, right, Garrett?
Yeah, the 9 in my heart.
Nice.
We got Detective Comics number 985, written by Brian Hill with art by Felipe Briones.
Best detective comic book I've read in a long time.
It's incredible.
I know Marvin Biased loves some Tinian the Fourth. I think that Brian Hill makes this feel like it's Detective Comics. There's actually a mystery that Bruce is trying to figure out, and it's not just Bruce being brought into the fold. We got Black Lightning, Batgirl. Is she still going by Orphan?
Black Lightning, though, huge part of this arc.
I don't care about Black Lightning. I haven't this is the only thing I've read of him, and I actually do enjoy that character.
The biggest thing about Black Lightning as a character is he is an educator. He is a teacher first and foremost. Like, he cares about the kids. Like, if it was kids versus, okay, I'm not even gonna do that. But I mean, his background is working with kids and educating, and so he uses that when he does use his superhero persona as Black Lightning. He's trying to still teach lessons to kids, and in this case, it's going to be the broken Bat family, especially at a time where there's this assassin, which is Karma, who is trying to assassinate and kill all of Batman's allies because he thinks that makes him weak. We also learn in this issue that Karma is somebody that Batman treated like a punk, like early on in his life. And yes, there is a mystery about who he is, but I think it kind of gets answered.
I'll agree. This issue did get answered, but like the two previous issues have been or we didn't even know his name, Karma, until you get to maybe the last one. Yeah. We do find out his name is Karma, but it's just so. It blows my mind to see how they're choosing to do this. I think you're right. Jefferson is probably the strongest glue holding this team together right now, because he is choosing to stay at the penthouse, or he is in the penthouse, or is he in the mansion now? Because I know the kids are at the penthouse.
Well, he meets the kids at the penthouse.
Yeah, but then he keeps going back to the mansion because he's talking to Alfred, because he's trying to get information from Alfred about Bruce. Going, okay, what's his deal? What's going on here?
Just fun, because like we all know Bruce Wayne Batman, but to see it through his Jefferson Pierce's eyes for the first time, that's kind of cool too, to see someone who doesn't really know much about Bruce Wayne, and then he finds out that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I thought Bruce Wayne was some prick that always used to just hang out with like fancy cars and beautiful model ladies. Yeah.
I think that Brian Hill is a great Detective Comics writer. Like you were saying, James Tynion felt different. It felt like a big adventure kind of story and he was good with the group dynamic, where I feel like this is really strong in terms of Batman and being Detective Comics. Like, Batman's really well written. The other people are okay, but they're really not in this.
I don't understand why Barbara's part of this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
That's the weakest link for me.
When did that happen? I was like, did I miss something?
Well, even Duke really shouldn't be in it very often.
Well, I think they're saying that Barbara really cares for Cassandra Cain, like everything that's happened with her with the James Tynion run, but I was like, I don't know if I really got that vibe from that. I don't think that she is that much of a protector of her.
I think as of right now, Duke and Barbara are just kind of plot points. They have to fit a quota that needs to be had in the book later, because they don't make sense otherwise. They're not from the original team that he had in the previous run.
Right.
I feel like Brian Hill writes at Detective Comics that Batman feels... it feels simple yet effective, and it very is action oriented, but it doesn't feel like it's just mindless action. Like, there's purpose to every action scene.
His Bruce Wayne is incredible.
Yeah, his Batman's really great. Like, there's that. I'm not sure what issue it was because I read the last 3 back to back. All Brian Hill's run. There's that one where Karma kept telling him, like, these people are making you weak. They're making you weak, and then it ends with Batman standing up at the end and being like, no, I don't need them anymore to his team. He goes, because they make me weak.
That was the last issue. This last issue.
Yeah, and that was a great ending. Like, that was, for me, was like, this whole series has been about Bruce having a team and not really wanting the team. Like, he doesn't know how to run the team, and he's been trying to do stuff on his own, and they would also have to, like go against his wishes and go after him, which they are going to try to do in this one, too. Like, they told Black Lightning, no, he wants us to come. Like, that's what he wants to do. He tells you not to come, but he's waiting for you to come and help him out. But I think an underlying Batman does think he works better by himself, because he's too worried about them getting in the way, or maybe also like he'll have to save them too while he's afraid of attacking Karma, and he thinks that Karma's too strong and that they're going to be in trouble the whole time. So at the end, I thought it was great that the whole time the villain's telling them, I'm trying to help you out here. These guys are making you weak. And then we have the hero, Batman, to be like, yeah, they're making me weak, but that doesn't make him right. Like, I'm going to go after him and stop him. Like, this is not the right way. But he did agree with his point, though. Like, yeah, because, like you said, he attacked Karma that one time and, like, took him down when he was by himself before. And he's like, and Batman basically makes the decision, I got to go back to being that guy.
Well, you can see why Karma was so scorned. Like, he was like begging Batman for help, and Batman, instead of, doing the right thing, he did the thing that, an arrogant, just starting out Batman would do. It's like, I am the law, I am the knight. Like, get out of my face.
He had no compassion whatsoever.
Right.
Like you said, Batman even walked away and said, he goes, "That's karma," or something like that. What did he say?
He said, maybe your name should be Karma, just because, he got left for dead, basically.
So I think it really is a Batman that hasn't met any of these Robins yet, or any of these other team members, that hasn't learned to have compassion. It's the dark Batman that's hurt and trying to lash out against these people. Like, he's trying to stop these villains because of what happened to his parents. Like, he's still in that stage and what happened to him. And so he's been lately, like, especially with a detective, been becoming more of a father figure and more of like a teacher. But then I think when Black Lightning comes on board, we see that a real teacher does not act like this. A real teacher has compassion for his students, who wants them to learn, where Bruce is upset that they're holding him back. Where Black Lightning's like, I'm trying to make you guys stronger than I am. And so at the end, when Bruce decides, no, they make me weak, I think it's maybe, hopefully, a turning point. I'm kind of concerned that we have Brian Hill doing this run, and then we're going to move on to Tomasi. So I'm not sure if it'll go through, but we kind of have Bruce saying, I'm done with this.
But the one thing that I see as a teacher, and I'm going to call Bruce a parent, is that, yes, Black Lightning can instill this teaching for them, but once he's gone, or once he decides to be sent back to where he's from, Bruce is still the parent that's there to pick up the pieces. He's trying to do what's best for the kids, saying, I need you to stay home. You guys are a distraction for me. I need to do this on my own. I'm doing this what's best for you. And I understand that Jefferson's like, no, you guys, I want to make you guys better, make you stronger. But the whole point is that Bruce doesn't want the help. He wants to do what's best for these kids. He doesn't even want those
kids to be parents of.
Well,
Yeah, but if he really was a teacher and team oriented, you can't say to your team that you're holding me back. Like, they need to be there with him. So in a way, it is him disregarding them, being like, no, because it's in a way like, have you ever been in a situation before where you're working as a team, right? And let's see, at work, you're working with a team, and then somebody's like, you know what, let me just do it myself. Do you really feel like they think you're an important member of that team anymore? Or are they saying, I can do this better?
See, now I feel like a dick, because I am that guy. That I'm with the team, it's like, I'm going to do this better on my own anyway.
But you do that because you're like, let me just focus and get this done, because you guys are holding me back on this thing.
Sometimes you got to tell people how it is.
But I mean, that's what Bruce is saying here. It's like,
you need to reconnect with your team.
Instead of taking that time to make this team stronger, he's like, let me just do it.
Well, I think the one thing is that Barbara's, and I realize we're in a different timeline now, but Barbara's, a 19-year-old woman where she used to be almost in her 20s, 25. She and he are established team members. They've worked together multiple times. That I feel like she and he would be pretty compatible on how they do their job.
Yeah, it feels weird to have Barbara in there, but not have Dick, Jason,
and that's the thing is that, like, when I think of Bruce on a team, I'm thinking of any of the Robins, and actually they've come together before as a team of 7 or 6 or however there are, and they work so flawlessly. There's a little convolutedness for me that even Orphan, we find out that Karma could have killed Orphan. It's like, really? I mean, I realize he's well trained, but Orphan is literally...
his helmet can let her read her thoughts, though.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so he knows what move she was going to do. Okay, right. You're right.
I feel like, though, I did like this, like I said, but I feel like the strongest people that Brian Hill's writing are Batman, Black Lightning, and Duke, and everybody else is kind of more just there.
And Duke?
Yeah, Duke was... There's a part where Duke was talking about, like... He was talking to Black Lightning, kind of like giving him... information on how stuff's run and stuff.
Yeah,
like
Barbara doesn't seem like Barbara.
No, and everybody else just seems like they're there.
I see. When we read Batgirl, this isn't Batgirl Barbara. This is 16-year-old Barbara who's doing the coding from GCPD.
Right.
So I do agree. I think it's a really great run in DC, and I feel like it's kind of a shame that he won't get more to flesh it out and do more with this. But also, I'm going to enjoy what it is. I think actually the art was pretty great. it surprised me again. Like I don't think I've ever seen this guy in a book before, but I kept being like, man, this looks pretty good.
I enjoy this look of Batman.
Yeah. Oh
where
yeah, the Batman.
Where he's not overly done. He looks like a man in shape, and he's supposed to be taller than most of these guys he's fighting.
He looks like Josh Brolin shape in Deadpool, and he's playing Cable. That shape, that's what he looks like. It's not
Instead of Thanos.
It's like an older guy, but he's in shape, and yeah. So it was a strong game for me.
I give it an 8.
I'm at an 8. I think it is really a strong step forward in the detective region, but maybe a step back in every character getting development. Yeah,
it just seems weird. We went from a team book to now I feel like the team's just there because that's how the book was, and he can't just be like, hey, get rid of the team. Saying
even though most of the team is gone.
So he really wants to write like a Batman and Black Lightning book and maybe an Outsiders book. But it just feels like it's in a transitional stage where there's some components that would be better if they weren't there, right?
Yeah, I think it would be a better arc. It would make James Tynion's arc better if it was Batman being solo right off the gate.
Yeah, and then we can transition to him getting another team.
Right.
Yeah. Those are the books for the week. That's Detective Comics. What issue?
985.
985. Royal City number 13. That's Sentry number 2. Descendant number 32. Great issue.
Venom 4.
Venom number 4. And JLD numero uno. You get those comics wherever you pick up your comic books. I think for the most part, besides JLD, right? That we all agree that it was stronger week. I really did enjoy this book. Nice little batch.
Yeah. A lot of Jeff Lemire.
A lot of Jeff Lemire, top tier. Jeff.
Should have put Terrifics on there. Most of it would have been Jeff Lemire then.
SuperCon 2018, Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Tickets on sale at supercon.com. Alex, we're going to be there doing a show, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be there on the 28th doing a live show for everyone. What's it going to be called? Wednesday Comics After Dark.
And not only us are going to be there, a lot of people are going to be there. Phil Hester, right, Garrett?
Yes, Phil Hester, the current artist of Batman Beyond. He's done other projects like Shipwreck. He's done some Swamp Thing that you may or may not have seen, and some Holland Files that came out recently.
Not only Phil, signed Steve, Shea Fontana, Tony Fleece, Travis Nye, Midwest All Pro doing a show the 28th. They'll be doing a show that night. That's the main attraction that night. Jill Thompson, Ryan Cody, John Allen, and more. Tom Wynn. Going to be at supercon.com. Make sure there's a lot going on that weekend. I would say, if I am going to tell you any kind of advice, buy that weekend pass. You won't regret it. You got MAP concert that night also. You got Wednesday Comics After Dark. And then you got a whole weekend of stuff to do, people to see. Supercon.com for more information. We are going to talk about this week because it just happened last week when I was out of town and over last weekend. But, we have a Strami here with us today, and he doesn't catch up on this news. And I know there's people out there that aren't always on the internet catching up on news. I know me and Garrett are on top of things, but Pastrami's too busy inside
making
the
sandwiches.
Fridge. He's in the fridge, sometimes in the dark, and sometimes you
can't see that expiration date.
You got to open that fridge and take him out and tell him what's
milk
up.
Is chewy.
So we are here to talk about all the announcements, not all the announcements, but a nice batch of announcements from San Diego Comic-Con, what was talked about, and we will discuss them here and see what we think about them. First up, I want to talk about, there's some books announced, so we'll talk about one book that was announced, one that was rumored for a while. I brought it up at the show multiple times, and I said, hey, it seems like a dream, maybe it'll happen. Green Lantern being relaunched by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. An exclusive interview on IGN. Grant Morrison said that he is going to revamp the book. It is going to focus on Hal Jordan's life as a space cop. Basically, it's no more apocalypse ending storylines. He wants to make it smaller arcs, smaller storylines, and it's going to focus on him doing his job rather than, hey, the world's ending. So Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. What do you think, Alex? You're a guy who
I've read good Grant Morrison, and I have read stuff that I'm not as big of a fan of. Liam Sharp is generally a fairly good artist. Actually, when I read the rest of Brave and Bold, that art is good. I think he's a great artist. I don't know what to expect from this, though. So does that mean Green Lanterns is going away? I know Hal Jordan.
No, that book is still
Green
going.
Lanterns is being retitled as Green Lantern Corps.
Okay.
And Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps
It's gonna
is
be Green
ending
Lantern.
at 50 and changing to Green
Just
Lantern.
Green Lantern
Okay.
singular.
So I don't know. I'm like I will obviously get this book. I know it's something that you guys will be picking up,
Oh, hell yeah.
and
Give me some GM.
I think a part of it is that I need to experience more Grant Morrison. This is a writer that I don't give the time of day to as often.
You know, I will say, hearing Grant Morrison is coming on not a brand new character, but a character for him that he hasn't got to play around with much is exciting. If you think about what he's done with Batman, what he's done with Superman, he gets his hands on Green Lantern, like, I'm all in. I can't wait to see the changes this guy will make to this character because, you know, you think about Batman, created Damian, my boy, my favorite Robin. I'm looking at your Dick Grayson, but still, Damian's he's a great Robin.
I feel like also that Grant Morrison, since it's going to be smaller scale cop stories, basically, is he's going to go back to being kind of Silver Agey, and it's going to be maybe a little weird, a little fun. And that's kind of what that book needs to be. Like,
and not so heavy all the time.
That book either needs to be epic and like very grand because it is in space and like have these big space battles, or it needs to be like, hey, look how weird this is, like, and be more of a science fiction book because it's been too long being like an action adventure book. Let's be a science fiction book.
Let's get Grant Morrison back on a monthly book. Thank God.
You know, GM, I read anything with Grant Morrison. He could write the McDonald's menu, and I'm there. So,
pretty sure he did.
DC Warner Brothers not announced, but showed off some trailers. So we had watched them, and we were going to talk about them. By the way, a trailer not released to the public, or it wasn't a trailer, it was footage for the new Wonder Woman movie, 1984. They didn't show that, but there was description about that, so if you want to read that, go online. But Shazam. So Shazam, they show the first trailer for Shazam starring Zachary Levi, directed by David Steinberg, one of the two. He directed Lights Out and Annabelle Creation, and he's now making Shazam. So we have a trailer, which starts, and it looks like it's New 52 storyline of Billy and how he turns to Shazam. What do you think, first impressions, Garrett? You're watching this trailer, you know, the Shazam is, I mean, the DC universe, it doesn't feel like that story fits in that universe, but from that trailer, I guess, does it feel like this is a new turn or a new way they're going with this stuff?
Yes. Well, the first thing I said is, holy shit, I think they're going to pull off a Shazam movie. Like, when I first heard about it, I was like, nah, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way they're going to make this lighthearted, colorful, hopeful. They're going to make it Zack Snyder-ish, and it's just going to be dark and whatever. Watch the trailer. I'm like, I'm so excited to see that movie. I think this is the type of DC movie we need right now. We need those uplifting, fun. Yes, you can have a fun superhero story and also have bad things happen in that story. I mean, that's any superhero's trial. And I think Zachary Levi is a great character to play Shazam. Like, so funny.
Yep.
And I do kind of like that they're doing the Jeff Johns New 52 arc of Shazam. I think that's fun for, you know, obviously when you get a punk ass kid that turns into a superhero, you know, you're going to see him grow every time he becomes that hero. Dr. Zhivago, he looks pretty terrifying. The
Who's
villain.
that?
He's the guy with the weird eye.
But I mean, that's not Black Adam.
No. Black Adam's not going to show up till Suicide Squad 2.
Because I think a part of it for me is that I'm watching this going, I really don't know a lot about Shazam other than I say his name, I can turn to Shazam and Billy Batson. It's like, oh, and I did think New 52 right away when I saw it because I had read JL with you, Gary, and I was like, okay, yeah, you are Dick Holm. I kind of like where this is going. But man, it seems so lighthearted. I was like, I laughed in the trailer. I was like, you know what? I am actually super amped to see this movie. It does feel like it's going to be worth my time.
Well, I mean, Shazam as a character is definitely the biggest escapist fantasy ever, to just say a word and turn into a superhero. Like, how many times do people read a Shazam comic? And I guarantee you they say Shazam just like, God, what if?
What if it happens?
Yeah. So, very excited.
What's the bad guy? What's he do? Is he a magical villain?
He's trying to control the power of Shazam. Okay. He wants to steal it for himself.
Okay.
They cited that Big and Stranger Things are an influence for this film. Obviously, Oh, never mind. I was going to say the kids. That's what I'm saying.
Big makes sense.
That kid is from it. Yeah, really did think the same thing. Like this was the thing I was not 100% sure on how it was going to work out, especially in this universe. But I watched this trailer, and it's the first thing I think I've seen from DC or from Warner Brothers to think that maybe stuff's changing, because we have Walter, I forget his last name, took over as like in charge of this DC universe, and he's the one who brought on David, because David, did Annabelle creation, and Walter comes from doing the Conjuring universe, so that's why he brought him on board, and that's what James Wan was brought on board. Like, he's bringing these directors he's worked with before, and they know he knows that they can get the job done, and so he's trying something different from before. Because before we had somebody who she was in charge of the Harry Potter universe. I feel like even though she was in charge of that franchise, there was more people involved with that franchise that knew what to do. Whereas this franchise really needs somebody who's like a Kevin Feige, who's like going to take full control and be like, no, this is the direction.
This is how we need it. Yeah.
Instead of having them figure out, like, there needs to be a direction. There needs to be some sort of stuff going on. So when I saw this and they made it that way, Zachary Levi I thought was perfect. And the comedy was there. The look was there. Like you said, the colorful costume. And there's even scenes when they're doing the training scenes and the filming's different. Like, there's a lot of things here for me that were like, there's good jokes. The actors are good. And also I see some good direction. I see some good camera work. So
did you get to see the wizard's face?
No.
I wonder who's playing the wizard.
It's, they haven't announced it. I just looked it up. I forgot his name.
Sam Neill.
No.
Dr. Alan Grant.
It's, here, I'll look it up. But I mean, I just feel like this is the first thing I watched being like excited that maybe it looks, I closed it down, that it looks a little bit different. Now, they played another trailer. It's called Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa and James Wan. They've aforementioned James Wan. And this was, and we've seen Aquaman before in Justice League. We saw him a little bit. My man. What does he say?
That's what he says.
Okay. My man.
Changes character's personality like 50
So we get
times.
this trailer, right? And I don't know what to expect. And I'm thinking it's going to be more of the surfing not dead body, but surfing a body down through a building kind of Aquaman. Or is it going to be more fun? Like, this is the movie that has the biggest question mark for me. Because, like, we've seen that character in Justice League. But I also feel like in Justice League, he was like 3 different people. Like, in one scene, he's super brooding and, like, mad. And then another scene, he's all happy telling jokes. And then another scene, he's just like, oh, man, everything's cool. And it's like, who is this guy?
Right.
Like, I don't even know from this movie who this guy is. And so, trailer hits, right? And I watch it, and I saw it popped up, and I didn't even click on it right away. Like, I was like, hey, let me watch this thing when I don't feel like watching it right now. So I watched it, eventually. And I actually did like the trailer. But I feel like, for some reason, the Shazam feels different. Like, I feel like that is true to how that movie's going to be. But this movie, I feel like, might be a trick. Like, it might be, because we've had good DC trailers before.
Right.
And then the movies don't turn out how that trailer is. And I feel like this might be a trick. But it looks great.
I think it only feels like a trick just because of what we got from Justice League. I mean,
know,
you're
that's what I'm
going
saying.
off the information that you know so far.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I might be a little scarred here, but
Marvin told me something that James Wan said, that they're not going to be talking in air bubbles. They're going to actually just talk in water because, they live underwater. That's exciting. And I think that Amber Heard's acting in that trailer, from what I can see, already a million times better than anything she did in Justice League. Like, she actually understands marriage.
she was in Justice League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the one who's making the air
She was
bubbles
in the
to
air
talk.
bubble. She went, boom. Now
Because
we
she's
can
not in
talk.
her green
okay.
outfit with her big red hair.
I don't.
They really dialed her down in Justice League.
Alex, what do you think? You just watched it right before we started.
I had watched it prior, but we watched it again tonight. There's things that interest me. Being under the sea, scary.
Hey, under the sea.
Thanks, Sebastian. There's like
Take it from me.
Shut up. I'm excited to see these characters. I'm pretty amped to see Ocean Master, like a character that I don't really know a lot about. I know he was in the JL New 52 run for a couple issues during that crossover. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of exciting. We see spoilers that Black Manta is going to show up, and hopefully it's not that he's a big major villain. Hopefully it's what we had already theorized was that he's a hired gun. and some Aquaman pisses him off some way or another.
He's got a laser, not a gun.
I was like, yay, that sounds great. But I ignored you. I'm just hopeful that it's good because I think you're right. I think to me it seems like this is a trap. I don't know. I don't know.
Line sinker. I get from the trailer.
Do you remember how great that Suicide trailer?
Sharks don't growl.
That's what I'm saying. Do you remember how great that Suicide trailer was? And then what we got?
I know, but here's what I think. I can already tell they understand his origin. Like they're not making him just like a freaking robotic sea person. Okay. I think that having the Atlantean Guard, I can tell there's going to be, there's going to be a lot of action in this movie. But I could also, like, again, the mythology, it's all there. You see his brother Orm, okay? His brother's going to be there. Is that, no, I don't think I was right on this. That looked like Patrick, what's his name?
Yeah, it's Patrick Wilson.
It is? Oh,
yeah.
God, he looks great.
Yeah, because James Wan works in the Conjuring, so he's in that movie.
All I'm going to say is Patrick Wilson doesn't do a movie willy-nilly. This is the Owl Man doing this movie. He is...
Oh, that's where he's from.
He is one of the people from The Conjuring, like one of those detectives. I'm just saying he's a great actor, and I don't think he would... again, you can't tell if a movie's going to suck or not. Such a face. But I think he's going to be a great villain. I think we're finally going to get some personality from Jason Momoa and figure out Aquaman is as a character. I hope people understand that Aquaman first and foremost was raised as like a human, and then he becomes an Atlantean. Like that's what I'm just hoping.
I don't think so. The things I did like by the trailer, I think the trench part looks great with all the creatures in the trench. I think the black manta part looks great, and it looks visually good.
Yeah.
I don't like anything Jason Momoa does in that trailer.
Really?
I don't like him being like, yeah, calls an ass whooping. And he's like, badass when they go into like all this stuff. I'm like, that's still that same guy who surfed down? I don't like that
I guess
guy.
you're right. Everything I like about the trailer has nothing to do with it.
It's nothing to do with the main character. And there's the part like he's like, redheads, gotta love him. And he jumps up the thing and I'm like, all right, that's not, is that Aquaman though? I mean, that's Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I think the only joke, and it's not even a joke that I think Arthur Curry would say, is when he gets into the submarine going, permission to come aboard. It's like, dude, one, you're already on the board, so you're being a dick.
So I saw Mission Impossible tonight, Fallout, and before they played the trailer, I saw it on the big screen. I don't know why I said that like I had some sort of accomplishment, but I watched it on the big screen. But I thought during the whole trailer, because I was looking at Jason Momoa big screen, and I kept thinking, being like, why does every, and this is not even DC, everybody, Marvel, Disney, whatever the fuck it's gonna be, not every main character is gotta be sarcastic, is gotta be joking, is gotta be funny. Like,
come on, Tony Stark.
Like, they can be different people. They make them all the same. Yeah, it's been like Tony Stark, like Jack Sparrow. They make them all the same character now. Like, nobody can be, like, they can't have Aquaman be a character.
The fuck Lex Luthor was in Justice League?
Like,
or Batman
why can't he be serious and then make jokes? Why does he have to be funny and then have serious moments? I understand that.
I always understood that Arthur Curry was like, if you said a joke is almost like a dad joke where it wasn't actually even good, he thinks it's funny. That's how I always felt he was as a character.
A humor like Thor almost.
Yeah,
kind of dumb.
Yeah,
like
right.
he doesn't know that he's not trying to be funny.
Yeah, he doesn't know he's
serious.
being
But then as he thinks about it, he's like, okay, that was pretty
I think he's more suave and sly, and like it's more, the humor from him comes more out of the context of what he's saying rather than him trying to tell jokes. Like, it's more him just like you said, like being James Bond, kind of like a character who James Bond tells puns, but like if you think of like Daniel Craig's, like he's being suave and like, you know, the kind of flirting back and forth, like that's funny, and be like, oh, he's like fun, but he's also like, I know when James Bond, Daniel Craig, like wants to get serious, he's gonna be serious, rather than, you know, like James Bond's never gonna like roll into Paris and be like, badass. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
Money penny, badass.
And he's not gonna punch some guy and be like, call that an ass whooping. Like, it seems
well,
like. I mean, the cheese. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The cheesy James Bond is like the Robert Roger Moore, and that every character has to be like that. I feel like in the DC universe, they and it's not just DC, but I'm going to use DC because we're talking about it. But like Flash is like that. They made Aquaman like that. They're trying to make Cyborg like that. Like, they changed it to be serious. Then they're like, oh no, like let's make him tell jokes. So he tell jokes at the movie. Then and then just like Superman turns into that. He started telling jokes. And it's like, it's only going to be everybody telling jokes and then Batman. Like even Wonder Woman was
that part
kind of
was like, my back.
Yeah, like even Batman. And like, so like, I don't understand. Like you can have, I don't understand. Maybe it's harder to write a character who is serious and not boring. That's what they're like, oh no, but if we make him serious, he's going to be boring. Like, no, you can make a funny character, but it doesn't have to be that they depend on the jokes. Like they're not, you don't have to write one-liners and jokes for these people. Like make them, I think that's funny come out of the context with their
That makes me think of what Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy. He said the biggest point is like, these characters are having serious things going on, but whenever there's a comical moment, it's because it happens organically. It's not something they're forcing to make a joke.
Yeah, like in Batman Begins, right? And there's a scene. So Commissioner Gordon really isn't the guy who's telling jokes the whole time, but there's a part when he gets in the Batmobile at the end, and he goes into like the shooting kind of mode. He goes, oh, and like that's funny because he's like, oh shit, like he doesn't know what's going on, and that the funny comes out of that moment because he's kind of like, this is weird for him. He's a cop, and now he's going into this weird kind of Batmobile trying to shoot a thing, and it's absurd that he's doing this thing, and that's where the funny comes from. He's not like, he doesn't get into that. He's like, I should get me one of these. Right?
I'm badass.
Like, yeah, just go badass. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, and like it's funny because
maybe mustaches don't look that good.
Like when Bruce gets the tumbler, he's like, hey, is it coming black? Like it's funny because all shit's in black, right? But it's not like it's not at every second that Bruce Wayne's.
It's funny because all the shit is black.
But he's not a jokey guy. That movie,
Mm-hmm.
like it's funny because in that moment, Bruce decided to make a joke.
Yep.
And in these movies, it feels like the jokes are fed to these people because the writer's like, hey, the joke's got to be like every 2 seconds.
But that's the thing is, like, if you're doing like I understood if it was a single movie, so you're doing Aquaman and he's all by himself. Yeah, he may make a joke to himself that no one else would ever hear. Okay, kind of funny. If you're going to do the team book or the team movie, okay, Batman's not a funny guy. Superman is not normally a funny guy. He may make a smile at somebody. Wonder Woman should be a pretty cunning. Well, yeah, and Wonder Woman, she's a serious person. Most of those characters are serious characters. The only one that I could see being jokey is the Flash, and that's because every third word will probably be cock-a-poo-poo or something.
But I mean, like the Flash makes sense because his mind's going at a mile a minute, and he's just like trying to fill time, and he's like, and he's like, very nervous.
Feels like he's got a jabber, I suppose.
Yeah, but it just feels
now
weird.
You got me nervous because you're right. I don't think anything in that trailer.
Rewatch the trailer. There's not one moment that I feel like he's Aquaman. There's not one moment that I'm like, that's the guy I want to watch.
There's one when he's lifting up the submarine.
That's action. That's not him.
I mean, like a character.
Yeah, but that's the only good thing he's apparently good at. Saying words, no.
Oh, I get
But lifting a submarine out of the water, yes.
Maybe he's going.
I was going to say, wait till we watch that movie and he's lifting it up. He's going, badass.
My boulder.
Time to breach, boys.
He goes, not a submarine anymore. Above the fauna. No, what do you call it when you go up on the submarine?
To ascend. Ascension, bros.
Going up. I don't know. Everything about that trailer besides him made me like that trailer, but if he's going to be the main component. Yeah. And I like Bumbo. He's good on Game of Thrones. And I've seen
because he doesn't talk very much.
I've seen him in comedic roles before. I just feel like, why? Like, you can make him like, Jeff Johns role Aquaman. By the way, he co-wrote this movie. Yeah. Jeff Johns wrote Aquaman in that series. It's like, it is a guy that is not joking all the time, but he does make jokes. Like, it doesn't need to be... See, not every... You know what it is? It's Han Solo. That's what it's been. Not every fucking character is Han Solo. They want to make this Han Solo that, like, Han Solo in these movies is always joking around because he's, like, trying to hide his insecurities. But not every character is like that. And, it makes sense for Spider-Man because that's how he's always been written. And that's how he is. Like, he tells the jokes to, like, kind of distract bad guys, right? But that's not every person. Like, if I saw Daredevil and he was acting like Spider-Man, no. And, like, Punisher. Like, if he a Punisher, like
that's what we call the Joker.
Yeah. Like, the Punisher's not going to be, like, a jokey guy and then, like, he's not going to be a comedian and, like, well, it's a comedian. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me go.
It's not a character for them to make jokes like that.
The only way any future trailer of Aquaman will be 100 is if I finally get to see Willem Dafoe as Merc.
We'll briefly talk about this.
Or who's his buddy?
Who?
Aquaman's mentor.
What?
Who's Aquaman's mentor? The guy from the old Atlantean Guard that finds him on Amnesty Bay. I think it's Merc.
Maybe it is Mark.
Namor.
Willem Dafoe plays him.
I want to just talk about this briefly. I don't want to talk about it too much because Alex doesn't watch it, and I stopped watching it last season. But I want to get your take on it, Gary, because I'm not sure if you still watch this.
Arrow.
Andrew Lincoln leaving Walking Dead.
Oh, I did see that.
It's been last season playing the part of Rick Grimes.
You know what I heard in the Twitter sphere or read? It's because that spoilers for last season, they killed Carl. I think Andrew Lincoln didn't agree with that decision, and that's why he's leaving the show. Plus, I think it's ridiculous. I think Andrew Lincoln's basically jumping off a ship that's sinking.
Yeah, they were reporting last year. It's like the lowest ratings that show's ever had. Like nobody's watching anymore.
We're still satisfied with our numbers. I'm like, nice saving face.
Is Jeffrey Dean Morgan still on there?
Yeah. I mean, it's
can't
weird.
have Negan without Rick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, how's this show going to continue without Rick? Like, Rick's the main component of that show. You would have to drastically change it. So
isn't Carl still alive in the books?
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I guarantee? They just make Rick go to another faction and never talk about him again until the series finale. Guaranteed they're not going to kill him off.
Here we go. Some comic news. Going back to comics real quick. They announced Marvel Knights is being relaunched with Donny Cates being in charge. Speaking of Venom, Marvel is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Marvel Knights in a big way. They announced that Venom writer Donny Cates will spearhead a Marvel Knights relaunch beginning in November. The relaunch will kick off with a one-shot issue called MK20 #1 with Cates and artist Mike Dodetto. No gun titles have been revealed, although it appears the new Marvel Knights will take a similar street-level approach to the original and focus on characters like Daredevil, Blade, Punisher, and Black Panther. So there you go. Donny Cates in charge of line of books, right? And Marvel Knight books were always kind of a little bit more... I wouldn't say super mature because that was their Max series, but it was kind of like more than their regular series, more street level.
I had seen maybe it was in our issue of Venom this week. I know there's the Venom, which is the when they're in Vietnam, and it's that team gets the Venom suit or Venom symbiotes, not symbiotes. But then there's another book that was Venom #1 by my favorite Cullen Bunn. I don't know what that is. Is that another reboot for Venom?
I think they came out a while back.
Or maybe it's a trade then that I was seeing.
It was like after Rick Remender's run, kind of.
Okay.
No, before Rick. It's somewhere. I know he wrote it.
So it's already been done.
Yeah, it was probably just a trade. So what do you think? Donny Cates, DC. This man has been on a roll lately. Thanos, Venom, God's Country. What else he did? There's one more in there. I'm thinking of Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yep.
I mean, we've been saying for a while that this guy is good with small runs, and he's good with coming up with these ideas. Like we were talking about Venom a second ago. Like, how does he come up with this? Like, how does he decide, like, oh, no, the Venom's going to be this? And the Thanos, like, that story, everything he touches is unique. So now he's in charge of putting together a line, getting people on books, and doing this one-shot. Do you feel like, one, you're going to be into this? And two, do you feel like he's the right guy for it?
Yes and yes.
Yeah. I think he's got the ability to spark something new in all these characters, or at least give a suggestion going, hey, this is how you could start this character off to give a little bit more background. And what was the second part of that question?
Do you think he can spearhead this?
I think he can spearhead it. Yes. What was the other part?
Are you interested?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I think,
when you said Blade was going to be here, so I'm excited.
I think the only thing I'm concerned with is Donny Cates is a fairly new writer. And I don't know, like, not everyone can be Jeff Lemire and write 30 books and all have them be successful. So that, I don't assume he's writing every single book. I'm guessing he's just going to be like, again, the Kevin Feige of that line. He's going to be producing it. Did I say it right?
Feige.
Yeah.
Feige?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Kevin Feige. He's got a G in there.
I know, but I think it's silent.
Oh, shut your face. Kevin F. Kevin Tran. But I feel like, I don't know, I'm just kind of nervous that he's not going to be able to do it all.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's more the guy to be in charge of it.
Reference.
Yes, I know. That's what made me laugh.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, that's why I was like, what does that mean? He's going to be in charge of it all, so I would hope that he would bring on board people he trusts and know they can do, and they would like, kind of group thinking together and put out some good books. I expect some Jeff
Sam and
Shaw
Dean
covers.
just lock him in a boat. I'm laughing that they're gonna lock Donny Cates in a boat.
If you read issue 45, this wasn't really
decipher some codes.
This really wasn't Comic-Con related, but it was around the same time. After 54 issues and over 1,200 consecutive pages of sequential storytelling together, Fiona and I have decided to take an extended break, but we will eventually reunite with Saga Chapter 55. So Saga announces they're taking a break, and they say, unlike our usual 3 months of vacationanza between arcs, we plan to pause publication of the series for at least the next year. We don't obviously take a decision. It's obviously wasn't a decision we took lightly, but Fiona and I feel responsibility to keep making the very best comic we can. And we both agree that the only way to eventually finish the epic saga we set out to tell with this one significant, let's call it an intermission. So they feel like, and I think I saw it here somewhere, they need to take some sort of recharge and get back into things. What do you think, Alex? I mean, you get this series about a year, at least a year, it says. So it might even be longer.
I'm saddened, but I can also respect the fact that they need a chance to recharge.
Was
that
there a
Fiona
mission cliffhanger for 54?
Yes. It makes me sad that I got to wait a year to get my...
At least a year.
At least a year.
So it could be 2 years. 3 years.
I hopefully...
4 years, 5 years.
This book may never come back then. When it ended... Oof.
I think Marvin can attest, though, if a book never comes back again, there's always a 7-year chance that you might get that last issue.
Hey, don't lose hope.
One, I think Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan love this book and love their readers too much to be like, yeah, here's a 3-year break for us. But I think it's great. I'd rather have them take the time and invest in this book and make it the strongest they can. I don't want rushed stuff. I'd much rather hear that you need a delay or that you want this intermission. That's great. But I just wish that if you're going to do an end, that it would have been a different end than what they gave me. So.
I haven't read 54 yet, so I do feel sad that it is at least a year out and possibly more. When I read that cliffhanger, I might also feel the frustration that I see that you have right now. Lock and Key was officially ordered from Netflix. They ordered 10 episodes, 10 1-hour episodes. I would imagine it'd be the first book, first season, first arc.
That's going to be a Netflix show?
Netflix show,
Nice.
Lock and Key. Hill serves as the writer and executive producer on the show. Joe Hill, the creator of Lock and Key, with the Gabriel Rodriguez, which was also developed by Carlton Cuse of Lost fame, and Meredith Adderall and Aaron Eli Colita, with Colita and Avriel joined when they went to Netflix. So, what do you think, Alex? This thing's been trying to be made into a series for a while. I know you said yourself that you love the comics. You don't care if they get adapted to the screen, but it's something Netflix, right? It's something you would be into.
Oh, I would watch this. I think Lock and Key is one of those books book and even a TV show that I think would be really, really well accepted. It's kind of in that genre of supernatural, and it's a good story. When you read that book, it's I know from Marvin's perspective, probably one of the best books you've read.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think it'll be well accepted from everybody who's out there watching. Enough people spend time streaming all these videos. Get something else out there. Get people drawn into these comic books. That's a way to get more readers going, hey, you like that TV show? Read the book that's from.
I feel like also Netflix is a great place for it because while it is, in a way, the feeling feels the same like Stranger Things, the story is very unique, and I don't think there's really anything out there that is kind of like this story. So it's going to be great to have this story out there, like you said, to get more people to read the book, but also just to get the story in general out there. And I love the book, and interested to see how it translates to the Netflix screen. Marvel announced starting this fall, Uncanny X-Men will return as a book. No, issue number 1 will come out in fall 2018. However, and I brought this up because that's all they announced. No team, no writer, no artist, nothing. They just said, hey, it's coming back. And I've been noticing recently that people are announcing books and either just announcing a writer or just saying, hey, this is the name of the book, and like there's no team attached. Like, do you guys feel, because I feel like every time I see any of these announcements, like this Uncanny X-Men, like I don't know if I can be excited or not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who's on this book. So, like, do you feel like naming just a writer and not an artist or nobody is kind of doing a disservice, because then you don't really understand like why people are into these books. Like, you're just like, hey, here's Batman.
I either see it being a disservice going because there's no way I get amped for a book when I don't know who to expect, either as a writer or an artist or even as just a character team. But I also could see it being a beneficial thing for them that perhaps the writer that they're choosing to bring over or a artist, they don't want to spoil something that's going to have happened. Like maybe a book is ending and they're just like, well, we don't want to tell people it's ending yet. We want them to be excited for this next thing and then side into the, you know what I mean?
Why do you have to bring logic into this? I was trying to get angry.
Well,
Just kidding. That is correct, though. You're right. They might be like X-Men Red might be ending, and that's the team that's going to be doing Uncanny X-Men or something like that. So I never thought about it. Good information. But I mean,
way to kill your trying to be mad at something.
Right, but if they've been announcing stuff recently, Marvel and DC, like with just a writer, that I think needs to stop. Like, I need who the artist is too. Like, give me a team, because the writer's not the only person who comes up with the story. The artist is also a component of that.
I think the problem with that is, at least with the big two, you're not going to have a artist that can consistently do every issue. So I don't think
that's what I mean.
ever do
They're treating
that.
them like second class. Like,
right.
With an Image book, it's like that's the team. Like Dustin Nguyen and Jeff Lemire.
I think the thing is, there's no way they're going to be able to do 20 issues in a row. Never.
No, I know. I'm just saying
I know.
They need to rethink the way they're doing stuff.
Right. Yeah, I wish they could do it like Image, where it's the same team on every issue, but...
DC announced their next slate of animated movies. The first one, not the first one, but the one of them they announced here. They're adapting Hush into an animated movie.
Cool.
Do you guys like Hush?
I loved Hush.
That's one of the first ones
I heard
read.
Jim Lee is going to help do some of the animation
Oh,
for
really?
it too.
That'd be nice.
Death of Superman just came out.
Okay, big issue with that. Hate they're using the new 52 costume, like using that same animation style. I feel like they're just... I know they're modernizing it because there was a Death of Superman movie that came out a while ago.
Doomsday. Superman Doomsday.
Yeah, Superman Doomsday, which is
It is the
same thing. I think that's just stupid. I think they're just trying to make money on that one.
The next movie to come out is called Reign Superman. It's Superman. It's the next storyline that happens when what happens when Superman's dead, featuring Steel, Cyborg, Superman, and Connor Kent. So is that up your alley? Yeah.
I do want to see both parts, like I'm going to, but again, when you see the cape on the post and it's that black S on the back, I'm just like, boring, boo, not good.
They announced also Justice League versus the Fatal Five. The Fatal Five is part of the Legion of Superheroes, so they'll be in there. There'll be a nice little Justice League movie. And then Wonder Woman Bloodlines. Nothing's really known about this movie. It's expected next year, so... It's going to be
I'm
like
glad there's not 6 Suicide Squad animated movies coming out.
Also announced, and this is something that's really not that groundbreaking, but I brought it up because my boy is in this. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse announced a couple of people joining the cast. This was, I think, a little before Comic-Con, but it's in this list.
Who's going to bring it up?
John Mulaney is playing Spider-Ham. Penny Parker is being played by Kimiko Glenn. And here we go. Spider-Man Noir being played by Nicolas Cage. My boy. There you go.
He's back.
Yo. Spider-Man Noir is being played by Nicolas Cage, huh?
Yeah.
Run, child.
Ghost Rider.
They announced that Jeffrey Dean Morgan said that Flashpoint movie is dead. They're not making it anymore. And that the Flash will be more of an origin story. What do you think? Flash origin movie? Is that we passed that already?
I hope they
get
recast.
shocked by lightning.
They
Okay, we're
recast
done.
Barry Allen, punch Ezra Miller in the face, and be like, "We got a better actor."
I'd rather see them bring in the guy from Flash TV show.
I wish.
Oh, he seems to play so much better. with Barry.
Multiverse.
Tomasi Mankey taking over Detective Comics of 994. Alex brought that up earlier. What do you think?
I like Doug Mankey's art, and I like Tomasi's writing.
I like Mankey. I don't know. Tomasi's kind of hit or miss to me. Depends on what he chooses to write, how he decides
He
to
never
write
does
it.
long-term storytelling. So it's like
Yeah, short term.
he gets kind of derailed by like these weird arcs. So it depends. Yeah, if you do like Murphy Superman, the breaks he kind of took, and like it was like it depends what he does. For Batman and Robin, where he did Batman and Robin, that was great.
When he takes Bruce on a vacation to DC, and we're taking a long walk down the street, I'm dropping that book.
One of my favorite issues of Superman.
What? I didn't get your reference.
In
Remember he was
Superman,
the
they go
memorial?
on their Independence Day vacation.
Oh yeah, Marvin's favorite issue.
Yeah.
A new Vision miniseries was announced from writers Chelsea Kane and Mark Mohan with artist Odd Cooch and Jordi Belair.
Only reason to get that is for Jordi Belair. I think, unfortunately, Vision has had an amazing run already that he's not a character that needs to get revived again for that. And he can be on a team.
What do you think
That's
of that
fine.
cover?
No.
All right.
To me, that looks like Bush. What's
You made the font too big.
what's shit? What's his
Fit all
name?
the way across.
Bushmaster or Bushmaker or what?
Nobody cares. Shut it. Shut your face.
Yeah.
Green Lantern Corps, the movie, is going to be a complete reimagining according to Jeff Johns. He has said that there's much more to this than that, but it's really a complete reimagining, just like it did to Green Lantern in the comics with Green Lantern Rebirth. I'm going to hopefully deliver a script that Warner loves and DC likes, and they want to make it that's going to celebrate the mythology and reinvent it in a different way. If you read my Green Lantern run, it's very much in line with some stuff we did in there, and those familiar with John's contributions to the GL mythology know that he brought some big ideas like the emotional spectrum, the willpower energy, and built a rainbow of other emotions around it. So Jeff Johns coming out and saying, hey, this is not the Green Lantern you've seen on the screen before. It's more in line with like what you've been seeing in the comics for a while, which is kind of funny that Grant Morrison's coming in and being like, hey, we're not doing that anymore. But then the movie's like, yeah, we're going to do that stuff now. So it's basically being transferred. What do you think? Does that make you more excited, or are you still like, I'm Green Lantern running into it?
No, I'm still. I'll have to see the trailer and then maybe see the movie, and then I'll let you know how I feel. Right now, I can't be like, yeah, way to go. That sounds great. Because you know what? That's just empty promises going, oh, you guys are really going to like this.
I think you need to read Green Lantern Rebirth. And then
I do. And that, you know what? It's same with like Flash. I need to read some of these other past books, be like, you know what? That's some good stuff.
I'm very excited. I think if anyone, he's writing the script, and as long as no one else rewrites it, I think it's okay to have it edited, obviously. But I think he is one of the best storytellers for this character. And I think to get people excited for Green Lantern as a character so they could enjoy a book like Grant Morrison writing him, that you need to know his capabilities. And that's what you'll find in this book, in this movie.
I'll say it's a movie, right? So I think my only thing is that you're right. I trust Jeff Johns to do a good job, but I want to know who's going to edit it. Who then? Because he goes, oh, if DC likes it, it's not about what DC likes. It should be about what's going to fit the quota that you want your watchers or listeners or viewers to see. Don't be going, oh, that's not the movie I would see. There's too much good Green Lantern in it. Let's shit on it a little bit more.
We'll get the president from Warner Brothers saying, hey, where's those guys that did the trailer to Suicide Squad?
By the way, also, the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe, was never an official thing. The fans usually call it that. And so, the MCU, the DCEU is what they would call it for a while. I always hated it because I was always like, that's not official. And people always said it. DC has officially named their movie universe. Have you heard about this?
DCU?
No, it's called Worlds of DC. What do you think?
No. The obvious answer would have been DCU.
Why don't you just call it the DC Multiverse?
Well, I think the thing is, if you look at Mirror that Multiversity map, they were different worlds. The dimensions were different worlds. So I think that's what it's supposed to be. So they just took the word multiversity out, and it's just the worlds of DC. So they said they're 52 worlds. Is what they said.
Here's my Bruce. Herm.
I mean, at least it's in line with their comic thing, so that's okay.
Batman's early driller.
A couple more things here that I just wanted to mention quickly. G. Willow Wilson is going to be writing Wonder Woman. She wrote Miss Marvel, and I really do like Miss Marvel. I read that in Marvel Limited. It's pretty good. So I'm excited to see her take on it and see. I feel like that's the breath of fresh air that it's needed. And actually probably should have had at Rebirth launch rather than being like, I like Greg Rucka. We know we love Greg Rucka in the show, Lazarus. But it could be like, because he's written Wonder Woman before, and it seemed weird to be like, hey, we're doing a Rebirth. You want to go back and write what you used to do with Wonder Woman. So it seemed like more of a chance to have Greg Rucka come back rather than try to reinvigorate the character. So I feel like this is the first shot.
Greg Rucka has like zero fucking things to do with DC, right?
But it was about getting people back into reading the books.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like this is actually going to be a different change for her, and actually the new refresh that they needed for her. So I'm excited for that. And also they announced Kelly Sue DeConnick is taking over Aquaman. I forget with what issue, but she'll be taking over Aquaman. So, and you like to Pitch Planet?
I did, but then it kind of.
What about Deadly?
What was it?
Deadly,
pretty deadly. Nope. It was one of those things that she's a fine writer if she can stay on point, but I don't know if I'm going to get Aquaman for her.
I think that's all the announcements from DC. Do you remember any more, Garrett? It was Green Lantern, those two books, and Batman. Detective Comics.
Well, yeah, one last thing is they finally announced I don't know if it was Comic-Con. It wasn't Comic-Con where it was announced. I know this is a Comic-Con episode, but the Joaquin Phoenix movie is just called Joker.
Yeah, they announced it's fully going forward. It's happening. It's going to be on October next year. Joaquin Phoenix, and it's going to be a Joker origin movie.
And the Joker movie, nobody cares about. The Jared Leto one's happening in the future. So.
Yeah. And Todd Phillips is directing this Joker movie, and it's being, I think it's still being produced by Martin Scorsese, right?
Yep.
The new Tom King book is coming out 9/26/2018.
Heroes in Crisis.
Yep.
Heroes in Crisis looks great. It looks like Dendia was talking about that it has a lot to do with like PTSD and like what Tom King talks about in his books. More of what would really happen to these people if they actually went through this stuff, like the traumatic stuff they go through. And this is really gonna be a book for him to be like. To figure all that out on a grander scale. So I am excited for that book too. San Diego Comic-Con news, there was more, but obviously we can't talk about everything. Pastrami just wanted to know the highlights, and that's pastrami. Hey, pastrami. You ever go pastrami, Swiss, mustard, and wheat bread?
Delicious.
Sounds like garbage.
Those are the news pieces. Let us know what you think about those. WednesdayComics605@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @Wednesday Comics or @Alex Petrello, @Garot2188, and @Marva_Saguero. Let me know. You ever had a nacho that was amazing? I also feel like the nachos are old, like
Chicken
I said.
nachos by my mom.
Hey, I know, but you haven't given it to us yet. Like I said, it depends per chip. It's not a consistent meal. And until one day I can have consistent amount of toppings on each chip, I will not have an amazing nacho. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Go ahead and like the page there and share it with your friends. Let them know to like the page and get the shows ASAP as soon as they come out. You can find us on YouTube, search Wednesday Comics, and you can see the gauntlet with these two guys on there, and sometimes catching up with Garrett when he's catching up with himself. Find us at 605-215-1849. Leave us a voicemail. Let us hear your tones over the phone. Let us know what's the best meal you ever had in your life.
Fucking rhyme master over here.
What's the best meal you ever had?
You're the pum master. He's the.
What's the
master.
best? I don't need specifics, but was it a sandwich? Was it a steak? What do you think, Alex?
For what?
The best meal you had in your life?
Oof.
Best meal?
Yeah.
Princess Chicken, baby.
I think I'd say a burger.
A burger. Garrett, Chinese food, and I'll think about it.
Marvin nachos.
Probably nachos.
We haven't found an equally balanced nacho.
Garrett, do we have a book club?
Wednesday Comics, League of Extraordinary Gentle People proudly presents Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Volume 1, Preludes and Nocturnes. Can't remember the artist right now, but it's the beginning of it all. Beginning of the entire saga by Neil Gaiman. And just in time, too, because I forgot about this, but they are not rebooting, but they're
A new series coming.
a new line of Sandman books are coming
Sandman
out.
Universe. So that'll be coming out. So go ahead and catch up with us with that Volume 1. Alex, when would that be? October?
Maybe October.
We're getting to Halloween season. We're talking about dreams. We're talking about the Sandman. So make sure you pick that up at your local comic book store or at the library. I'm sure they have it. Support your local library. Mr. Sandman, give me a treat. Is that what the song's based on? Mm-hmm. That book? Okay.
Yeah.
SuperCon 2018, Return of the Con. That's September 28th, 29th, and 30th. We'll be there the 28th doing a live show. So make sure you get that weekend pass so you can stop by and see us and you can see everybody else. What's up? You like the pen?
Oh my
helpful.
God.
You can see us do a live show in person. Make sure you get the weekend pass, and then also you're there on Saturday, mingle with everybody and see the things going on there. And then Sunday, stick around. It's a family day, but there's going to be a lot of stuff still going on. Make sure it's great to show up at SuperCon and participate in a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of events, and you're going to want to do a lot of things. So make sure you get the weekend pass so you have access to it all. Roots of the SwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Make sure you follow them on DC World Swampy or on Swamp Thing, on Facebook at facebook.com/Roots of the Swamp Thing. That's rootsoftheswampthing.com. Make sure you go there, read some articles about the swamp. He showed up in JLD this week, and also Scooby-Doo Team Up, I think. So make sure you go there and see. We just got done and go back and listen to our book club show where we talked about Saga of the Swamp Thing Book 1, which we all enjoyed. And it was about the Avatar of the Green, the starts of Alan Moore's run on that. Subscribe to the show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio. Those are the main four. But it's all over the place. I told Garrett I searched for us on Twitter the other day, and I found some random radio station that plays us, and that's fine. Spread the word, but I don't even know, I guess you want to play on the radio, so there you go. So,
stream us everywhere.
You can find us wherever you can hear stuff. Possibly. Oh, I just noticed all these are down. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. Whatever.
I'm not remaking this episode.
Phantom Zone again.
I don't even know what those do. I have to look at those. No, that does nothing. I'm looking at the board here. So, sometimes you roll into this place and it's been a couple of weeks since we've actually done this show. And you roll in, you're like, how do we do stuff? I forgot how to do it. Sometimes you ride a bike and you can know 5 years later how to ride a bike.
Literally rode my bike tonight. Didn't have any issues getting on that bike.
Let's say you don't ride a bike for 5 years. Do you still know how to ride it?
Oh, yeah. You never forget.
What about if you didn't eat a nacho for 5 years? Do you remember?
No, you won't remember that.
You won't remember because they were never equally balanced.
So you said chicken nacho. And I was thinking like a ground beef,
I was thinking steak nachos.
You think the steak nachos?
You can put olives on it if you want, but if you want to ruin it.
Don't you feel like, well, hear me out. Like all these things you put on top, none of them, realistically, none of them stay on this chip. What are we going to do?
Why do you think I mashed mine all together?
Oh, I know what happened. That's why they made those scoops. The scoops. But then the scoops ruin your fucking mouth.
And they break really easily.
Yeah, so
you might as well just eat Alex's nachos.
I feel like there's millions, possibly billions, of dollars sitting out there for somebody who wants to perfect the nacho, and I need to know.
Or you could just get a dip and get chips separate and get scoop with the chip.
What you should do is get a nice solid wafer bread, put some seasoning on it so it's got a little more solidness to it, and you can use that for dipping.
For Wednesday Comics, I've been Nacho Marvin.
I'm Alex.
I want to say something cool. I'm Jalapeno Garrett. Spicy.
Hey, everyone. Keep showing those pages.